Pokémon, the Shiny Pokémon Attractor. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451. The next day, at the beach on the edge of the Deadly City, Xiaoxi came to see Wutong and the others off. Ha 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 ha, what a refreshing morning. How come you guys, at such young ages, don't have any energy at all? Xiaoxi said cheerfully, while looking at the sea. The gloomy-faced Wutong for, no, it should be the gloomy-faced Wutong, Xiaomei and Xiaoming, and the doubly gloomy Xinji. This bastard muscle man recovered really fast. The four Wutongs thought to themselves, after your gym inspection is over, come to the Deadly Gym to play for 2 days. It's much more interesting to fight with you than with those little boys. Xiaoxi said happily. Only ghosts will come. After the Pokémon battle, you still have to fight with real people. Who can stand it? Wutong and his 4 friends immediately called out their flying Pokémon without hesitation, and took off, and left Vermilion City. What a pity. Xiaoxi said regretfully as he watched the 4 people leave. The next stop for Wutong and his 4 friends is Cerulean City. What's different from before is that Wutong decided that the 4 of them would wear their own clothes and go to the Cerulean Gym without revealing their identities as Pokémon inspectors for the time being. Xinji and his 3 friends naturally had no objection. It was normal to monitor secretly. When they arrived at the entrance of Cerulean City, Wutong and his 4 friends happened to meet an acquaintance. Xiaoxia, what a coincidence, your bicycle. Xiaozhi gave it to you as compensation? Wutong greeted and asked. How could that guy be possible? This was fixed by Miss Joy from Viridian City. But how did the 4 of you appear here together? Xiaoxia asked curiously, after seeing Wutong and his 4 friends. The silver tournament just ended, and we haven't been back to Kanto for a long time, so we just wandered around. We were planning to go to the Hulan Gym to watch your sister's water ballet performance. Wutong said, the excuse he had thought of long ago. That's a pity. My sisters are traveling. Now the Hulan Gym is unattended, and there is no water ballet performance. Xiaoxia said helplessly. Her 3 sisters are too free-spirited, and don't take the gym seriously at all. After hearing Xiaoxia's words, Xinji's face darkened, and he was about to take out his ID to seal up the Hulan Gym on the spot. Xinji still remembered the irresponsible 3 sisters who came to challenge the Hulan Gym before. Then Xiaoxia, you must have come back to take care of the gym, right? Xiaoming was quick-eyed and quick-handed, and quickly held Xinji down, and then asked Xiaoxia. That's right, my sisters don't care about the gym at all, so I decided to stay in the Hulan Gym and let the gym run well. Xiaoxia said seriously. Since we have nothing to do, let's go to the Hulan Gym together. Xiaomei also blocked Xinji and said, TSK. Xinji, who was blocked, made a TSK sound unhappily. Xiaoxia certainly wouldn't refuse, and led the 4 people back to the Hulan Gym. On the way, Xiaoxia saw the news of the PIA gym inspection as expected. The Pokémon inspectors of other groups did not know which city to seal a gym. At the same time, Xiaoxia also heard the gossip from passers-by. I heard that the next target of PIA is Hulan Gym. No, let's go quickly. We have to go back to Hulan Gym as soon as possible. Xiaoxia suddenly became anxious. Wutong and the 4 looked at each other. There is a traitor. Someone actually revealed their whereabouts. The group quickly returned to the Hulan Gym, and behind them, 3 sneaky figures followed. Chapter 452. After a long time of waiting, Xiaoxia subconsciously shouted, I'm back after entering the Hulan Gym. However, she immediately realized that her sisters were all traveling, so how could anyone respond to her? Just as this thought came to her mind, a noisy sound came from the depths of the Hulan Gym. It seems that someone is here. Wutong, who knew the plot, said. I just don't know if the Pokémon supervisor Xiaozhi will still be there with the presence of the 4 of them. Could it be that the Pokémon supervisor has already arrived? Xiaoxia hurried in. Wutong and the other 2 followed. After entering the battlefield of the Hulan Gym, a Gyarados was running wild in the pool. 3 men in uniform were shouting meaninglessly. Gyarados, calm down. Stop making trouble. However, Gyarados ignored the three guys and continued to tumble in the water. Looking around, there was no sign of Miss Joy. It seemed that, because of the appearance of the four of them, Miss Joy did not receive the task of inspecting the Hualun gym. Hey, what's going on? Why are you three here? Xiaoxia ran over and asked. Miss Xiaoxia, you are finally back. It's Xiaoxia, the fourth sister of the three beautiful sisters. Hearing the words of the last person, Wutong, Xiaoming, and Xiaomei all held back their laughter. What a talent, what an interesting name. Your words make me angry. Who are you? Xiaoxia said unhappily. We are your sister's guards. Your sisters asked us to take care of the Pokémon in the gym before you come back. But Magikarp suddenly evolved into Gyarados, and it became like this. Wutong interrupted the calm chattering people and said, excuse me, the brother in the water is about to become an import. In the pool, a man wearing the same guard uniform was swimming hard, and behind him, Gyarados opened its mouth and chased the man. Save me, the man shouted hoarsely. Roar. Gyarados also roared, splashing a large piece of water, which fell on Xiaoxia and the three guards, and the four of them became drowned rats. I don't like Gyarados. The embarrassed Xiaoxia stuttered. Xiaoxia, who had been in the mouth of Gyarados when she was a baby, still has a psychological shadow on Gyarados. Tajipi also retreated into the eggshell, as if avoiding the furious Gyarados. I say, how long are we going to watch the show? Xiaoming suddenly asked. I don't know, but Xiaoxia seems to be planning to solve it herself. Xiaomao shrugged and said, waste of time, Gyarados, get ready for battle. Shinji said and threw the Pokeball. In order to fight with Xiaoming, Shinji adjusted the configuration of his Pokémon, so Shinji's Gyarados happened to be on him at this time. Roar. Gyarados, which was obviously stronger and more ferocious, appeared. Looking at the same race raging in the pool, Shinji's Gyarados directly roared. Roar. Little brother, what's wrong with you? The Gyarados, which was still thrashing in the pool, stopped suddenly after being roared suddenly. This was the suppression from the blood of the same race. The members of the Royal Guard who were being chased took the opportunity to escape to their companions. I'll leave this to you. The four members of the X4 guards ran out immediately, shouting as they ran. TSK TSK TSK, it's okay for these guys to be lickers, but they are so unprofessional. Wutong said as he looked at the four guards who fled in panic. Roar. What are you looking at? Gyarados came back to his senses after being stunned for a moment. Gyarados' violence was not something he asked for. Gyarados, make it behave. Shinji said coldly. Roar. Finally, this day has finally come. It's finally its turn to deal with other Pokémon. Shinji's Gyarados roared happily and then rushed towards Gyarados. The two Gyarados fought in the pool, but Shinji's Gyarados obviously had an absolute advantage. Unlike Xiaoming and Xiaomei who were watching the show, Wutong had been watching Xiaoxia silently from the side. At this time, Xiaoxia looked at the two Gyarados in the pool with a changing expression and looked very entangled. Soon, Shinji's Gyarados suppressed Gyarados. However, Gyarados still did not. The Gyarados was twisting its body in disbelief. Shinji's Gyarados was also a temper traitor, so he was going to give it a hard blow and make it lose consciousness. Enough. Xiaoxia suddenly shouted. Gyarados. Shinji stopped Gyarados and looked at Xiaoxia calmly. Sorry, thank you for your help, but now the sisters are not in the gym, so I'm the gym leader. That child danced water ballet with me when he was still Magikarp. There must be some reason that made it so irritable, so can I solve it myself? Xiaoxia said a little incoherently, but her words were full of seriousness. After listening to Xiaoxia's words, Shinji did not answer, but turned back to look at the two Gyarados. The next second, Shinji took back his Gyarados and walked towards Wutong and the other two. Well done, my dear friend. Wutong patted Shinji on the shoulder and said, I won't wait long. Shinji glanced at Xiaoxia and said coldly, don't worry, Xiaoxia is very strong. She won't make us wait for long. Wutong replied confidently. Outside the skylight, three sneaky guys saw what happened. I see. Our three brothers' chance has come. The three guys said with a sinister smile. In the pool, without Shinji's suppression of Gyarados regained its freedom, but failure made it even more irritable. Directly follow the passage under the pool into the living area of the water-type Pokémon of the Cerulean Gym. Xiaoxia led Wutong and the other four down to the aquarium-like underground. Through the glass, they watched Gyarados continue to run wild in the water. There were also other Pokémon who hid, because they were afraid of Gyarados. The battlefield leads directly to the aquarium. The structure of the Cerulean Gym is really amazing. Wutong said. Everyone is afraid of Gyarados. If the Pokémon inspector sees this situation, Xiaoxia seemed to have seen the future of the Cerulean Gym being closed down, and her expression became gloomy. Wutong and the other four thought to themselves that there was no need for rifts, as the Pokémon inspector had already seen this situation. So, Xiaoxia, do you have a way to appease Gyarados? Xiaoming asked. I don't know. No, maybe. Xiaoxia remembered something. Her expression became more and more tangled, and then she seemed to have made up her mind and said, please go back to the battlefield and help me pay attention to the status of Gyarados. I'll be back soon. Xiaoxia said and ran away. Wutong probably guessed what Xiaoxia wanted to do and directly prepared to eat melons and returned to the battlefield with a few people. After a while, Xiaoxia, who changed her clothes and hairstyle and wore accessories, stood on the diving platform. Oh, Mermaid Princess Xiaoxia, not bad, Wutong said very flatteringly. So what is she going to do? Xiaomeo said curiously. Meaningless action. Shinji, who has not yet fully accepted the bond between trainers and Pokémon, said coldly. Don't be so serious, just treat it as a show. Xiaoming said. Swampert, pay attention to the situation. Wutong released Swampert just in case. Xiaoxia looked at Gyarados swimming in the water, took a deep breath, and jumped into the water. Xiaoxia, who turned into a mermaid princess, danced with the water Pokémon in the pool to try to make Gyarados recall their good memories. However, Gyarados just took a look at it at first and immediately launched an angry attack. Swampert, Wutong called decisively. Rag. Swampert dived into the water and pushed Gyarados to the bottom of the pool. Xiaoxia returned to the shore with the help of Seahorse and Starfish. Cough, cough, cough. Why not? Xiaoxia, who was sitting on the shore, said dejectedly. Seeing Xiaoxia's behavior, as if she had given up, Shinji decisively took out the Pokémon Inspector's certificate. Wait a minute, don't be so anxious all the time. Wutong dodged Shinji's ID and put it in his pocket. That's right, Wutong favored Xiaoxia openly. If it was any other gym owner, Shinji would have sealed it off. But Xiaoxia was the first wise girl after all, the first Pokémon heroine that Wutong knew. What's wrong with giving her some time to grow? Shinji stared at Wutong with a pair of dead fish eyes, wanting him to give an explanation. People need to grow. Our goal is to make the gym better, not to rush for performance, right? Wutong said. Tomorrow morning. Shinji said a time and returned to his seat. As an iron-faced judge, this was the only thing he could do. Biggest concession. Xiaoxia, who was standing by, was obviously immersed in sorrow. In addition, Wutong and Shinji didn't speak loudly, so Xiaoxia didn't hear the conversation between the two. Xiaoxia, have you given up? Wutong walked in front of Xiaoxia, squatted down and asked. I don't want to give up either, but I have no other way. Xiaoxia said dejectedly. Do you really have no way? Or are you subconsciously avoiding it? Do you really plan to contact Gyarados? Isn't it because your subconscious fear and rejection stimulated Gyarados? Wutong said mercilessly. Although it was a bit cruel, this might be a way for Xiaoxia to cheer up as soon as possible. After all, it was not easy for Shinji to give in once. It seems that I'm really not a qualified gym leader. Perhaps stimulated by Wutong's words, or perhaps Wutong said it, Xiaoxia said self-deprecatingly, but immediately Xiaoxia's eyes became firm. Xiaoxia was much stronger than imagined. Did everyone hear that? This guy admits that he is an unqualified gym leader. At this time, an inappropriate voice appeared. Are the assists coming? Wutong stood up and said to himself while looking at the three guys who appeared on the platform at some point. You are from that time. Xiaoxia also recognized the three people, the guy she defeated, before she separated from Xiaozhi. So you still remember me. Now let's use Pokémon to fight to decide who will be the new gym leader. The leading little guy shouted with a loudspeaker. These three guys. Shinji frowned and looked at the three guys on the platform. Where did these fools come from? Do they think that the gym leader of the alliance is a cabbage? Can it be decided casually? Question mark. Shinji, who has respect for the profession of gym leader, is very unhappy with the three people who suddenly appeared. Don't worry, isn't this also a test for Xiaoxia? Wutong sat next to Shinji and said calmly. Swampert also returned to Wutong at this time. As for Gyarados, it has been tied to the bottom of the pool by Swampert. Chapter 453. The sound of the little speaker was so loud that passers-by outside the gym could hear it. Everyone come and see. The battle for the position of the leader of the Hualun gym. No matter which world people are from, they all have a certain degree of love for eating melons. So after a few minutes, the temple was full of people. What kind of terrible action ability is this? Xiaoming said in disbelief as he looked at the gym, that suddenly became lively. This may be the city feature of Hualun City. Xiaomai also said a little unexpectedly. How could this happen? Xiaozhi looked at the excited audience who suddenly appeared, and the three guys who were showing off their power on the opposite side, and was a little at a loss for a moment. I'm the candidate for the leader of the gym, Bruce Zhang. The short boy said with his arms swinging randomly. I'm his younger brother, Bruce Ling, the second ranked one. The tall and thin boy followed. I'm his younger brother, Bruce Shan, said the last boy who looked like a bull. The three guys of different shapes finally posed and shouted at the same time. We are the three Kung Fu brothers, Zhang Lingshan. After hearing the words of the three brothers, Wutong's eyes narrowed. Very good. I almost forgot that these three clowns were making trouble under the banner of Kung Fu. It seems that they need to find a place to educate them and let them know what to do and what not to do. It just so happens that Masashi seems to be very bored recently, so I might as well send him 3 toys. Hey, I didn't say I was going to resign as the leader of the Hualun gym. Xiaoxia also shouted very unhappy. Huh, is that so? But everyone, please see, this guy can't appease the Gyarados by himself, and he also asked someone to lock it up underwater and abuse it. Bruce Zhang continued to shout with a loudspeaker. God knows where this guy found the remote control. The pool used as the battle site actually began to move upwards. There was a layer of glass on the inner side of the pool wall, revealing the current state of Gyarados. Seeing the appearance of Gyarados, Xiaoming and Shinji all looked at Wutong. Wutong looked embarrassed and could only look at Swampert. Rag? Degrees, Swampert had an expression that said it was not my fault. At this time, Gyarados was entangled on a stone pillar at the bottom of the pool. Yes, that's right. There was no rope, just tied Gyarados to the stone pillar alone. Gyarados. Xiaoxia was also stunned when she saw the state of Gyarados. Swampert, go and release it. Wutong said awkwardly. Rag Swampert entered the water again, allowing Gyarados to regain its freedom. Then Swampert hugged Gyarados' big head and had a friendly exchange with it. Perhaps because of being beaten up in a row, Gyarados finally became less irritable. After looking at Xiaoxia from the bottom of the water, he nodded to Swampert, indicating that he would be honest for a while. Rag. After completing the task, Swampert returned to Wutong, and at the same time, everyone's eyes turned to Wutong. Hey, come back, Swampert. Wutong quickly took back Swampert, and then pretended that nothing had happened. Humph. Anyway, in order to decide who is more suitable to be the gym leader between you and me, let's have a Pokémon battle in front of everyone. Bruce Zhang said arrogantly. What did you say? Xiaoxia still couldn't understand the brain circuit of the guy in front of her. If you think you are suitable to be the gym leader of the Cerulean gym, let's see your strength. Bruce Shan followed up and provoked. Yes, that's right. Fight them. Obviously, the audience were all guys who watched the fun and didn't mind the trouble. TSK. Humans are indeed full of bad nature. Wutong said as he looked at the crowd. Don't forget, you are also a human. Although these guys are really annoying. Xiaoming said helplessly. Humans have their limits. I won't be a human anymore. Wutong took out a strange rock mask from somewhere and pretended to put it on his face. Be serious. Shinji's iron fist of justice fell from the sky, interrupting Wutong's evolutionary path. Since you caused the trouble, you have to be responsible for solving it. I just need a referee, so I'll leave it to you. Xiao Mao on the other side followed. Yes, I know. Wutong closed his eyes. He took off his mask, rubbed his head and stood up. Even if Swampert hadn't done that, these three clowns would have jumped out to cause trouble. But since he was already involved, he really couldn't just watch the show. I know. I accept your challenge. Xiaoxia responded. In that case, let me be the referee. Wutong stood up and said. Who are you? You are in the same group. What if you deliberately favor her? Bruce Ling jumped out and said. Humph, since you asked sincerely, I will tell you mercifully. Hearing Bruce Ling's question, Wutong showed an arrogant smile on his face. Wutong swung his non-existent cloak and then snapped his fingers. The shadow behind Wutong extended to all directions, and 2 trophies slowly floated up from the shadow. That's the championship trophy of the Quartz Conference. The other one seems to be the championship trophy of the Silver Conference. By the way, this person looks familiar. That's right. I'm the double champion of the Quartz Conference and the Silver Conference, Wutong, who pursues fairness and justice. Wutong said loudly. Rag. In line with Wutong's words, Swampert appeared again, doing bodybuilding movements behind Wutong. He's pretending, this guy. Xiao Ming said indifferently. Yeah, it looks like he has been practicing for a long time. Xiao Mao, who also had an indifferent face, followed. Idiot. Shinji concluded coldly. That pink muscle Pokémon. That's right. It's the champion of the last Quartz Conference and this Silver Conference. Is he the pink champion whose Pokémon are all pink and shining? Pink champion. Pink champion. The smug smile on Wutong's face gradually became distorted. No, what the hell is a pink champion? Which bastard gave this nickname? And his Pokémon has long since left the simple pink color system. Damn it, I'm not a pink champion. My Pokémon have many colors. Okay. Come out. Wutong released his Pokémon irritably. Of course, Steelix and Iron Warrior were not released. Oh, it seems that they are all shiny Pokémon. So spectacular. Colorful champion. No, it's obviously the color champion. Color champion. Color champion. Seeing Wutong, who became proud again, Shinji and the other 2 were all speechless. Why does he think the color champion is better than the pink champion? Xiao Ming asked in confusion. Don't worry about him. This guy's probably sick again. He will feel socially dead and roll on the ground later. Xiao Mao said, as if he had used the prediction of the future. What an idiot. Shinji said again with certainty. Seeing Wutong's series of actions, Xiaoxia, who was originally very depressed because of Gyarados' rampage, Wutong's questions, the provocation of the 3 brothers Zhang, Ling, and Shan, and the crowd's booing, was relieved for no reason. Are you calm? As a gym leader, you can't not maintain a good attitude. A voice suddenly appeared. Xiaoxia's body was shocked. Wutong didn't know when he had put away his Pokémon. He walked past Xiaoxia and left a word and stood in the referee's position. Then, both sides have no problems, so let's get ready to start the game. Wutong took out the referee flag and announced. After Wutong's announcement, the gym regained the warm atmosphere before the game. Xiaoxia, who had adjusted her mentality, stood on the side of the battlefield. The 4 guards who had escaped ran back at some point and naturally acted as commentators. Wutong couldn't help but sigh again. The management of Hualunjin was too lax. The 3 brothers Zhang, Ling, and Shan could easily get the remote control of the battlefield, and the 4 guards could directly get the microphone and speakers. This is not a gym at all. It's just like a free public park. But these are not the main points. The important thing now is to let the battle begin. Xiaoxia and Bruce Zhang both released their Pokémon. Xiaoxia first sent out the model worker in her team, Starfish. Bruce Zhang chose to send out Fast Fist. Are you still going to fight by tricks? There's really no hope. Wutong looked at Bruce Zhang with contempt and thought to himself. There were only a few floating boards in the battlefield as footholds. As soon as Fast Fist appeared, he fell into a desperate situation. Perhaps because of the great psychological pressure, Fast Fist's body swayed left and right on the floating board and fell into the water. Fast Fist struggled in the water for a while. He looked like he was drowning. It seems that Kuei Kwanlang is not used to fighting in the water at all. The guards shouted loudly with a microphone. No, Hazing. Go and save Kuei Kwanlang. Xiaoxia was too kind and directly commanded Hazing to rescue. However, just as Hazing approached Kuei Kwanlang recovered instantly, with a mocking smile on his face, and punched Hazing out of the water. Kuei Kwanlang rushed out of the water and punched again, directly hitting the red gem in the center of Hazing's body. TSK. Xiaoxia still has a long way to go. 2 punches are not enough. This Hazing is weaker than Ultraman. Wutong muttered to himself. You actually attacked Hazing who came to rescue Kuei Kwanlang. You are too much. The guard's commentator also complained to Hazing. However, Kuei Kwanlang didn't care at all, standing on the floating board and proudly raised a fist. Xiao Mao, Xiao Ming and Shinji all frowned when they saw this fighting style, and Shinji even exuded a dark aura. These 3 guys are completely tarnishing the Pokémon battle. Starfish. You are so mean. Xiaoxia shouted. Humph, as long as you can win. Bruce Zhang replied indifferently. Really? Unfortunately, this foul fighting style can't bring you victory. Fast boxer fouls. Starfish wins. Wutong looked at Bruce Zhang coldly and said. What? You, the referee, are biased towards her. Bruce Zhang said unhappily. Think about how to win by regular means before questioning fairness. If you still use this method in the next round of battle, I can only disqualify you from the battle. Wutong said coldly. Damn it, if that's the case, go, stinging jellyfish. Bruce Zhang reluctantly sent out his second Pokémon. Sun Coral please. Xiaoxia also exchanged her Pokémon. Seeing Bruce Zhang's choice, Wutong sighed, and his hand had already touched the Pokéball to be built. Sure enough, Bruce Zhang's dictionary seemed to have no words for fair fight. Facing Xiaoxia's Sun Coral, Bruce Zhang directly called his 2 brothers. 3 stinging jellyfish appeared in the water. Bruce Zhang called them triplets, and the stinging jellyfish they used were also triplets, and the triplets were all of 1 mind and 1 body. So this is not 1-on-3 but 1-on-1. This inexplicable logic made Wutong really unbearable. Originally, for the growth of Xiaoxia and Gyarados, Wutong wanted to try not to intervene. But the moment Bruce Zhang's remarks came out, Wutong found that he was indeed not suitable to be a ninja. Swampert, Ditto, Turtle. Take care of them. Wutong threw out 3 Pokéballs and shouted. Rag. Emma Wukami. Swampert and Turtle jumped directly into the water. Ditto twisted his body into Swampert mode and followed into the pool. The 3 stinging jellyfish who were enjoying the group fight suddenly felt that something dangerous was approaching. They let go of the Sun Coral that had lost its ability to fight and turned around. The 3 stinging jellyfish found that they were surrounded. Sun Coral. Xiaoxia saw the Sun Coral fall to the bottom of the pool and jumped into the pool in worry. Hey, how can the referee interfere with the game? Bruce Zhang protested. I should have said that, if we fight in a formal way, you 3 guys are not qualified to be Jamonas at all, and there is no need to continue this fight. Wutong shouted. You 3, you should have had enough of the trouble. Xiaomao and the other 2 came behind the 3 brothers without knowing when. Damn it, if that's the case, let's defeat this guy and show you our strength. Bruce Zhang still wanted to resist. Look at the furious attack of our 3 brothers. Triple poison needles. X3 Zhang Lingshan shouted at the same time. The stinging jellyfish used poison needles together, and their target was actually Xiaoxia, who dived into the pool to save the Sun Coral. Swampert. Little turtle. Wutong shouted hurriedly. However, Gyarados was faster than the 2 Pokémon. Gyarados directly blocked in front of Xiaoxia and took all the poison needle attacks. Gyarados. Xiaoxia, who surfaced and put the Sun Coral by the pool, called out worriedly. At this time, the childhood shadow of Gyarados seemed to have dissipated directly. Wutong's 3 Pokémon also suppressed the 3 stinging jellyfish. You 3 are really hopeless. It seems that you don't need to go Marzish's place. Miss Juncha is more suitable for you. Wutong looked at the 3 guys with cold eyes. Xiaomao and the other 2 also called out their own Pokémon. The 3 brothers still wanted to resist, but how could the 3 who could only fight by tricks be the opponents of Shinji and the others? Wutong looked at the three brothers who were tied up, and then looked at the crowd watching the show nearby. If possible, he really wanted to send these bastards who were watching the excitement to Miss Xiaoxia to report. Looking back, Xiaoxia dived into the water again and checked the injury of Gyarados with concern. Perhaps it was Xiaoxia's heartfelt concern that touched Gyarados. Gyarados did not run away again and was obediently collected by Xiaoxia in the Pokeball. "Are you okay, Xiaoxia?" Wutong walked to Xiaoxia, who came ashore, and asked. "I'm fine, but Gyarados is seriously injured. I have to take it for treatment," Xiaoxia said worriedly. "Well, go quickly, leave it to us here. Pokemons are also very delicate, even Gyarados is the same." Wutong looked away and changed the subject. After all, the triple poison needle would not seriously injure a Gyarados, and Gyarados' injuries were mostly caused by Wutong's Swampert. "Well, I see. Thank you, Xiaotong." Misty thanked and ran away directly. After dispersing the crowd who still wanted to watch the show, Wutong and the other four gathered together and looked at the three brothers who were tied up tightly on the ground. "So call Miss Xiaoxia directly?" Xiaoming said. "Of course, it's best to leave these three bastards to Miss Xiaoxia," Xiaomao said. "So, my dear friend, do you think the Hulan gym still needs to be closed?" Wutong asked. "More responsible than I thought, but still far from it. I'll come back and take a look after checking the Nabi gym and the Tokiwa gym," Shinji said lightly. "Don't worry, Misty will do better than you think," Wutong replied. Chapter 454. The two of them were in a mess. Xiaoxia came back faster than expected. It seems that Gyarados' injury is not as serious as it looks. Xiaoxia, who changed back into her regular clothes, returned to the battlefield. Looking at the dispersed crowd and the three brothers tied up on the ground, she felt unreal. This unreal feeling came from too many things happening in one day. "I hope the Pokémon inspector can come later. The gym is definitely not going to pass the test in this state." Xiaoxia looked around the battlefield and said, because of Gyarados' rampage and the nonsense of the three brothers Zhang, Ling, and Shan, the entire battlefield looked shabby. "Indeed, there is no way to pass the test in this state, but I think the Pokémon inspector will give you more time when he sees your efforts," Wutong said. "Oh, if only the Pokémon inspector was as easy to talk to as you." Xiaoxia sighed and said, "Really? I don't think Pokémon inspector is an unkind job." "So, Xiaoxia, the owner of Hualan Gym, how long do you think it will take for the gym to pass the inspection?" Wutong took out the PIA certificate and said to Xiaoxia with a smile, "This is it. Xiaotong, you are actually a Pokémon inspector?" Xiaoxia said with her eyes wide open after seeing Wutong's PIA certificate. "It's just temporary." "So, Xiaoxia, the owner of Hualan Gym, how long do you need to get Hualan Gym to pass our inspection?" "Let me make it clear first. We have an iron-faced judge here," Wutong said. "Time, 5 days. No, 3 days. I will definitely organize the gym in 3 days." "But, you said we? Could it be?" Xiaoxia did not try to rely on Wutong's relationship to give herself more time, but tried hard to get Hualan Gym back on track as soon as possible. Seeing Xiaoxia's gaze, Shinji, Xiaomao and Xiaoming also took out their PIA certificates. "You are all Pokémon inspectors." Xiaoxia was shocked again. 3 days. We will be back in a week. By then, I hope you can fix the Cerulean Gym. It is not as simple as simply repairing the damaged places. The strength of the gym owner, the issuance of badges and other aspects will be checked. Wutong estimated the time they would return to Pallet Town and then come back and said, "I know. Thank you, Xiaotong. I won't let you down." Xiaoxia replied seriously, "It's good that you have confidence. In this case, I will take these 3 guys away." "Swampert, take them 3. Wutong said. "Rag." Swampert nodded and directly grabbed the ropes on the 3 brothers Zhang, Ling and Shan. Xiaomao and Xiaoming said hello and followed Wutong away. "I hope you can do it," Shinji said coldly and followed after saying it. Originally, Wutong wanted to send the 3 clown brothers to Marzishia's toys for him, but considering that the 3 guys' words and deeds were too outrageous, Wutong thought it would be better to send them to Miss Xiaoxia. With the 3 brothers, Wutong and the other 4 came to the police station in Hualan City. After looking at their ID cards with misjuncture and roughly explaining the situation, the three brothers Zhang Lingshan had a job with food and accommodation. After leaving the police station, the time was in a very awkward state. If they went to Nibi City now, they could arrive in the evening. But by that time, the Nibi gym should have been closed. If they didn't go, they would be in a situation where they had nothing to do. After a brief discussion, the four Wutongs came to the conclusion that they would go to Xiaogang's house for a meal. With a goal in mind, the four immediately took action, called out their respective flying Pokémon, and took off directly to Nibi City. It was already evening when they arrived in Nibi City, and the four went straight to the Nibi gym. After bypassing the Nibi gym and coming to the house behind the Nibi gym, Wutong knocked on the door. Of course, you can't just eat for free. You have to bring some gifts for a sudden visit. So Wutong took out the best quality ingredients and moo milk in his backpack, and after thinking about it, he took out some energy cubes. I think Xiaogang will like it. After Wutong knocked on the door for a while, the door opened, and a little girl with pigtails and burgundy hair appeared. This should be one of Xiaogang's sisters. Those squinty eyes are really easy to identify. You, who are they? Asked the little girl who opened the door. Hello, we are Xiaogang's friends. You should be Xiaogang's sister. Let me think. You are Xiaozhi, right? Wutong said with a kind smile. Xiaogang has 9 brothers and sisters, starting with Jero, and the rest in order are Sanlang, Sizzy, Wulang, Xiaozhi, Kizzy, Bashu, Jilang, and Shizzy. Although these brothers and sisters are dressed differently, they all have the same squinty eyes. I have to cite the strength of Xiaogang's father's martial arts gene. After all, Xiaogang's mother Xiaomi is actually a beauty, at least with big eyes. Brother, your friends are here. Xiaozhi turned around and shouted to the house. My friend? Ah, it's Xiaotong. And Xiaoming and Xiaomeo. Shinji is also here. How come you are here together? Xiaogang, wearing an apron, came out with a long-handled spoon in one hand. I just happened to pass by Nibi City, and it's late, so I plan to come and have a meal. You won't mind, Xiaogang. Wutong said with a smile, and handed over the gift in his hand. Xiaogang's brothers and sisters took Wutong's gifts very obediently. Of course you are welcome. These are all high quality ingredients. I'm cooking. Let's eat together today. Xiaogang said happily when he saw Wutong's gift. In this case, I'll help too. Wutong walked in and said. Xiaotong is going to help too? That's great. Xiaogang, who knew Wutong's logistical ability, was even happier. Shinji, Xiaomeo, Xiaoming, you can play with Xiaogang's brothers and sisters for a while. Things like taking care of children will have to be learned sooner or later. Wutong turned around and teased. Seeing Wutong's familiarity, Shinji and the other two were helpless. Excuse me X3. The three of them said hello and went to play with Xiaogang's brothers and sisters. After all, they came to eat for free, and Wutong helped to cook, so they had to do something too. You can't just sit there like a big boss and wait for food, right? Chapter 455. After the meal, the two of them were very busy. With Wutong's help, Xiaogang finished the dinner almost twice as fast. When serving the dishes, Wutong also glanced at Shinji and the other three, and finally came to a conclusion: these three guys will be good fathers in the future. Because Xiaogang's family has many people, the table in the restaurant is also very large. Even with Wutong, the four of them can still sit down easily. At this time, Xiaogang's parents Wuneng and Xiaomi also return home. The two sat together, and their eyes were full of each other. After starting to eat, the two of them didn't eat a single bite of food for themselves, and they fed each other a spoonful of food. The atmosphere has become sweet. Xiaozhi couldn't help but say, have your parents always been like this? Wutong, who was sitting next to Xiaogang, asked. Occasionally. Xiaogang said helplessly. Xiaogang's cooking skills are getting better and better. This cream-flavored dog food is really good. Xiaoming took a bite of cream mushroom soup and teased. This tomato-flavored dog food is also good. Xiaomeo also teased. Of course, Shinji's cold personality did not participate, and he was just eating seriously. You too. Xiaogang was even more helpless. There was no way. Anyone would feel embarrassed if their parents were affectionate in front of their friends. Amazing. Xiaogang, when did your cooking skills become so good? Xiaomi finally moved his eyes away from Wutong and said to Xiaogang with relief, "It's because you and dad are not at home all the time." Xiaogang replied in a cold tone, "I see." Xiaomi said a little embarrassedly. Wutong watched the show on the side. Sure enough, the more mature and sensible children become at an early age, the less reliable their parents and elders are. After all, maturity is something that comes from hard work. You've been traveling for so long, and it seems you've made a lot of good friends. Wutong jumped out to change the subject. Wutong, needless to say, had challenged the Nibe Gym with Xiaozhi, and Wutong also knew Xiao Mao, the grandson of Professor Oak. As for Shinji and Xiaoming, the saying birds of a feather flock together can fully explain that these two guys are not bad trainers. You're flattering me. Xiao Mao replied politely. Wutong and the others also exchanged a few words. So, have you thought about it? What should we do about the Nibe Gym? Xiaogang asked. Hearing Xiaogang's question, Shinji and the other two looked at each other and got an unexpected reward. Wutong, who knew the plot, continued to watch the show. After all, it was not time for him to take action. Yes, this incident. Wutong was interrupted by Xiaomi halfway through. Let Xiao Wu start the speech here. Xiaomi said excitedly. It's really scary. I didn't feel anything when I watched the anime, but I felt it when I really saw it. Xiaogang's mother Xiaomi is really a natural clamp. The sound is too clamping. Xiaomi should come. Wutong immediately changed his expression to Xiaogang seeing a beautiful big sister after hearing Xiaomi's words, and tapped Xiaomi's face and said, Xiao should come. Xiaomi was not to be outdone, and tapped Wutong's black face with her finger and said, Xiaomi Xiao. Xiaogang looked at his parents and his forehead was visibly bulging with blue veins. As Wutong and Xiaomi spoke, the bulging blue veins became more and more. Either explode in silence, or perish in silence. Obviously, Xiaogang chose to explode. Xiaogang slammed the table and roared loudly, "You two hurry up and say it." Hash, oh. Xiaogang is so impatient. Xiaomi threw himself directly into Wutong's arms and said, "Well then let me explain. From now on, Nibe Gym will become a gym that controls both water and rock types." Wutong said seriously again. XN chapter 456. The two of them were very busy, but the two sides were still very busy. Wutong and Xiaogang's words made Xiaogang, his brothers and sisters, and Shinji all speak in disbelief. Wutong ate dinner as usual. After all, Wutong and Xiaomi's decision was difficult to reach. Even if Xiaogang and Jiro did not stop them, the rules of the alliance would not allow them to change it easily. You should know that when each gym applies to be established, it must submit its own gym specialized attributes. This kind of gym specialized attributes cannot be obtained by you taming a bunch of Pokémon with the same attributes. You must have your own understanding of this attribute. After all, the gym owner can challenge the king as a master of single attribute. Therefore, it is very difficult to change the gym specialization attributes. Generally speaking, it is only easier to apply for a gym attribute change when the gym owner changes and the next gym owner's specialization attributes change. For people like Wutong and Xiaomi, it is simply a joke to change the gym specialization attributes casually because of a quarrel between husband and wife. Let's take a step back. Regardless of whether they intend to submit an application formally, even if they submit an application, whether it can be passed is a problem. Take a step back. Even if the application is passed, the gym needs to be reassessed to make sure that the change of attributes will not affect the gym's operation before it can be officially changed. Wutong and Xiaomi obviously did not think about these things, and they first transformed the gym's battlefield. In this case, if they are inspected by the Pokémon inspector, there is only one consequence, that is, it will be blocked and closed. In this way, the gym does not need to be changed, and Xiao Wu can continue. Xiaomi said happily with his hands clasped in front of him. Manipulating the gym with opposite attributes may become a very interesting gym. Wutong followed. What about the rock Pokémon? How can you ask the rock Pokémon to fight in that kind of venue? Before Xiaogang could reply, Jiro couldn't help it, and also slammed the table and shouted loudly, "Jiro, what's wrong with you?" Xiaomi asked worriedly. "Dad, Are you still the gym leader? Jiro ignored Xiaomi and ran out of the house. After talking to Wutong, Jiro, Xiaogang shouted worriedly. After the eldest brother left, the second brother said that he would inherit the position of gym leader. Liuzi next to Xiaogang said calmly, "Gym leader?" Shinji, who was watching the show calmly, looked at the direction of the gate and muttered to himself, "Sorry, Xiaotong, I want to go see Jiro." Xiaogang also understood the reason why Jiro was so excited and said to Wutong, "It doesn't matter. After all, we are visiting suddenly. It's just that we have finished eating. Let's go together. It's not convenient to find it alone so late." Wutong stood up and said. Shinji and Xiaomei also stood up. But I haven't finished eating yet," Xiaoming said with a spoon. Wutong gave Shinji and Xiaomei a look, and the two immediately understood and lifted Xiaoming up on the left and right. "Sorry, uncle and aunt, we are going out first. By the way, although it's good for a couple to have a good relationship, you should also take a good look at your children occasionally," Wutong said and followed Xiaogang away. "This is really," Wutong said as he looked at the people who left one after another. "Everyone is very impatient." Xiaomi obviously didn't get the point. Although it was said that they should search together faster, Xiaogang obviously knew where Jiro was. So the 5 people went straight to the destination. They came to a small river next to Nibi City. Jiro was sitting on a rock by the river with his legs hugged, staring at the river, wondering what he was thinking. "Jiro, can I sit next to you? I've been back for so long, and I can finally sit down and rest for a while." Xiaogang sat down next to Jiro and said. The 4 Wutong people stood behind the 2 men. Obviously, this was the time for Xiaogang, the eldest brother. "I heard that you want to be a gym leader." Xiaogang asked. "Brother, don't you want to be a gym leader anymore? I heard you said in the afternoon that you wanted to be a breeder or something." Jiro asked back. Xiaogang and Jiro were talking like this, and the 4 Wutong people also looked at the full moon in the sky. Seeing those trainers' competitions, I learned that gym leaders are a very attractive job that makes trainers stronger. Jiro said. "Come on." Xiaogang rubbed Jiro's head and said. "There is no need to cheer, because the Nabi gym is about to close." Close D. Shinji, who had been watching the show, suddenly said. X3 Wutong and the other 2 looked at Shinji, who suddenly interrupted in surprise. Interrupted by the sudden voice, Xiaogang and Jiro looked over in confusion. Nibi Gym changes the gym specialization attributes at will. After all, the gym owner has a problem of dereliction of duty. I think Nibi Gym needs to be closed and wait for inspection. Shinji took out the Pokémon inspector's ID and said coldly. "Shinji, you." Xiaogang's eyes appeared in surprise. Shinji is actually a Pokémon inspector? Looking at Shinji's state, Wutong seemed to understand something and took out his PIA ID. "Sorry, Xiaogang, we returned to Nibi City this time to conduct gym inspections. I didn't expect that the problem of Nibi Gym was so serious," Wutong said with a helpless expression. Xiaomao and Xiaoming obviously understood and also took out their PIA documents. You. Xiaogang was confused. What was going on? After eating for free, they still wanted to close my gym? No. Nibi Gym will not be closed. Jiro shouted excitedly. "Sorry, Jiro, there is nothing we can do about it. After all, although we are friends with Xiaogang, the rules are the rules, unless Nibi Gym can solve the problem immediately," Xiaoming said regretfully. "Yes, uncle and aunt are indeed a bit too much as gym owners, and we are also responsible for the alliance and trainers. Of course, if someone can stop them, there may be a chance," Xiaomao said. Xiaogang was stunned for a moment and then said, "You guys. Don't worry, Jiro, I won't let Nibi Gym close, and I will stop my parents." Hearing Xiaogang's words, Wutong and the others smiled. "Really? Well, it seems too late today, and the food we ate at night seems to help us sleep. We may not wake up until very late tomorrow." Wutong put away his certificate and said deliberately, "Impossible, brother. How can a rock-type Pokémon fight a water-type Pokémon in that kind of venue?" Jiro said pessimistically. "That's not necessarily true. The charm of Pokémon lies in breaking people's conventional perceptions. Let me tell you how powerful rock-type Pokémon are." Xiaogang stood up and said. Then we'll say goodbye first. Oh, it's really easy to get sleepy after eating too much. Wutong yawned and waved his hand. Wutong, Xiaomei, and Xiaoming turned and left. Shinji looked at Jiro with a cold look, and after a moment he said, being a gym leader is not something you can succeed by just saying a few words. Do you really have that kind of awareness? Without listening to Jiro's answer, Shinji turned around and followed Wutong and the others. This guy's not as cold as I imagined. Xiaogang muttered to himself as he watched Shinji leave. Chapter 457. The next morning, Xiaogang arrived at the Nabi gym. At this time, Wutong and Xiaomi were making a new Nabi gym sign with Raiden and Blasto eyes. Good morning. Xiaogang greeted. Good morning, son/Xiaogang. Wutong and Xiaomi replied together. Dad, why do you seem to be in low spirits? Xiaogang looked at Wutong's face and asked. Because the gym will reopen today. Look, this is a new doorplate that Xiaomi and I made together. Wutong said happily. Raiden and Blasto eyes held up the new doorplate on the left and right. On it was the name of the Nabi gym and the collision of water waves and rocks. Ah, that, rejected. Xiaogang waved his hand and said. Hearing Xiaogang's words, Raiden and Blasto eyes didn't control the strength of their hands well, and the newly made doorplate broke directly. What did you say? Wutong asked in surprise. I think the Nabi gym should still be the gym of rock type Pokémon. Xiaogang said calmly. Has it started? It seems that getting up early today is not in vain. Wutong, who was hiding in the corner, said. Beside him, Shinji and the other two were secretly observing. At this time, the three of them had changed into the uniforms of Pokémon inspectors. Xiaogang, what do you want to say? Wutong stood up and asked. I said everything I wanted to say yesterday. Xiaogang said seriously. He had already talked to Wutong about the gym yesterday. Although it's not an advantage, I have forgotten what I said yesterday. Wutong replied. No matter what, today I want to challenge my mom. If I can defeat my mom in my mom's water field with a rock type Pokémon, the gym will return to its original state. Xiaogang saw that his father was going to cheat and said directly. Today's Xiaogang is so scary. Xiaomi hugged Wutong's shoulders and said. As a son, this is very brave. Wutong couldn't help but say when he saw Xiaogang's look. Mom, please promise me. Xiaogang said seriously. Okay, that field, right? Xiaomi asked. Yes, it would be meaningless if it's not that one. Xiaogang nodded and said seriously. In another corner, Jiro was also secretly observing all this. After entering the Nabi gym, Xiaomi and Xiaogang were ready. Wutong and the other four also mixed with Jiro and came to the second floor stands of the battlefield. Xiaogang's other brothers and sisters also got the news and ran over to watch the battle. Wutong and the other four shuddered as they looked at the Nabi gym. It was too fancy. Although the original Nabi gym had no decorations, it gave people a heavy feeling of rock. As a result, the entire battlefield is now painted with fancy patterns and hung with ribbons. It looks like a strong man in a maid outfit. Terrible, really terrible. Then I will be the referee today. Wutong stood at the referee's seat and said loudly. Xiaowu is so handsome. Xiaomi shouted very supportively. Thank you Xiaomi. Wutong waved his hand and replied happily. Xiaogang simply ignored his parents who were always giving dog food and sent out his Pokémon while announcing the rules. Not surprisingly, Xiaogang chose his most trusted Onix. Xiaomi sent out the giant winged flying fish. Can Big Brother really win? Jiro said worriedly as he looked at the battlefield. Believe in your big brother. Xiaogang is also very strong when he is serious. Wutong said. Of course, he didn't say one thing, that is, Xiaomi is actually weaker than expected. The battle ended faster than expected. Xiaogang first asked Onix to use digging holes, successfully draining the water in the venue and revealing the original rock venue. After all, it was rebuilt from a rock venue, and the water storage capacity is far less terrifying than the Cerulean Gym, and it also does not have the extensive water area of the Cerulean Gym. After there was no water, the giant finned flying fish suddenly fell to the ground out of habit. Onix then dug a hole to attack and broke out of the ground and hit the giant finned flying fish. The adjusted giant finned flying fish remembered that it could fly and turned over in the air to adjust its posture and launched a counterattack against Onix. Onyx resisted the attack of the giant finned flying fish and tied it up with its tail. The giant finned flying fish opened its big move close to the face, and the foam beam covered Onyx's face. Under Xiaogang's command, Daoyan the snake threw the giant winged flying fish and sent a tail whip, whipping the giant winged flying fish to the ground. So far, Xiaogang successfully completed the reverse attribute and won the game on the disadvantaged field. The giant winged flying fish cannot fight, and the big rock snake wins. Wutong, the referee, announced. Great. The rock Pokémon won. Jiro shouted happily. According to the agreement, the gym must return to its original appearance. Xiaogang said, but these cute decorations can't be left behind. Xiaomi obviously focused on a different point from Xiaogang. I also agree with Xiaomi's idea. Let's keep these decorations. Wutong interrupted. Xiaogang sighed and reluctantly agreed to his parents' willfulness. What a beautiful battle, Xiaogang. Wutong and the other four and Xiaogang's brothers and sisters also walked down. Xiaotong, your clothes, how are they? Can the Nabi gym pass the inspection now? Xiaogang asked. Will you still be the gym leader of Nabi gym? Shinji asked instead of answering. I'm going to travel soon. I want to be an excellent Pokémon breeder rather than a gym leader. So the position of gym leader will still be given to my dad. Xiaogang replied. Then Nabi gym still cannot pass the inspection. Xiaoming said regretfully. Yes, if you continue to be the gym leader, we are all very relieved. What if Aunt Xiaomi has new ideas when you go on a trip? After all, Uncle Wutong doesn't look like he can resist. Then Nabi gym will be a mess. Xiaomeo questioned. I will take care of the gym for my brother. I will never let my parents mess around again. Jiro shouted loudly. Oh, really? Can you really do it? Wutong looked at Jiro and asked deliberately. Jiro can of course, and he may even do better than Xiaogang. After all, Xiaogang manages the gym more because of responsibility, while Jiro really hopes to become an excellent gym leader. Moreover, after Xiaogang went on a trip, he entrusted his Pokémon to Jiro. Jiro even cultivated powerful rock-type Pokémon such as Rhydon, Steelix and Rhydon, based on Xiaogang's Pokémon. Oh, Steelix is considered apostasy after evolution, but it is not unacceptable for a rock-type gym to have one or two steel-type Pokémon. Obviously, the four people of Wutong still want to see Jiro's enlightenment, and at the same time, want to help Jiro. The gym leader is not just talk. How can you prove that you can control your parents? How can you prove that you have the ability to become a gym leader? Now you don't even have your own initial Pokémon. Shinji said coldly. Jiro was speechless, blushing and didn't know how to answer. If you want to be a gym leader, then show your awareness. Even if you don't have your own Pokémon, you have lived in the gym for so long, and you want to become a gym leader. You should have done the most basic homework. Come and have a Pokémon battle with me. Shinji said with a closed mouth. Xiaoming and Xiaomao didn't know why Shinji was so excited today. Did he see Jiro's potential? That's not right. Shinji is not a late life strong man looking for a successor. Wutong understood in his heart. After all, the future Shinji is working hard to become a gym leader. Now it seems that Shinji has had the idea of becoming a gym leader for a long time. Now seeing Jiro, maybe he is touched and wants to do something. I know, big brother, please lend me your Pokémon. Jiro said seriously. I know, but wait a moment. Xiaogang said. After a while, Xiaogang came back with a healed Onix. I don't know whether Brock thinks that the steady Onix is more suitable for Jiro's first Pokémon, or whether there is simply no suitable Pokémon for Jiro to use. After borrowing Brock's Onix, Jiro stood on the battle stage for the first time, and Shinji still kept a cold face and walked to the other side. Shinji won't let us win, right? Xiaoming said a little confused. Who knows, but with the character of the gloomy monster, he won't take any battle lightly. Xiaomao shrugged and said, maybe there will be interesting situations. Wutong said with interest. Gyarados, prepare for battle. Shinji also sent out his Pokémon. The ferocious Gyarados appeared on the field. Seeing the Gyarados on the opposite side, Jiro retreated for a moment, but immediately remembered that his elder brother had just won against the attribute, and he definitely didn't want the Nibe gym to be closed. The moment they saw Gyarados, everyone in the audience felt really Jiro was a bit cruel. But immediately, everyone found that something seemed to be wrong. Shinji's fighting style has always been a combination of appropriate tactics and direct and effective command. He rarely communicates with his opponents in meaningless ways during the battle. But this time, Shinji seemed to have temporarily maximumed out his poisonous tongue skills and kept mocking Jiro. Every time Jiro made a mistake, Shinji would be met with cold words from him. It's just that Jiro's first battle was so unbearable to watch, but the battle between the two has never ended. Or, this battle was not a battle from the beginning. Guidance battle? But it's really a guidance battle full of Shinji style. Wutong said. What's the matter? Shinji doesn't really want to take Jiro as his apprentice, right? Xiaoming was very surprised. No, that guy should just want a good gym leader for the Nabi gym. Xiaomao had understood Shinji's words at this time. Jiro, who had been mocked by Shinji, was very ashamed, but the calmness he learned from his elder brother made him change quickly. Jiro began to find guidance from Shinji's harsh words, and improved his fighting style according to Shinji's words. After all, he grew up in the gym, and many knowledge and fighting skills can be said to be ingrained in his mind. Now, under the inspiration of Shinji, Jiro gradually corrected his shortcomings in fighting, and his command became more and more proficient. Onyx. Hit. Jiro finally found the opportunity and shouted loudly. Onyx's hard head hit Gyarados hard. Gyarados fell directly to the ground. Of course, this did not make Gyarados lose its fighting ability at all, but Gyarados, who had just raised his body to fight back, suddenly felt cold all over. His eyes unconsciously looked at his trainer, and seeing his trainer's cold eyes, Gyarados immediately understood. The body that had just been lifted up began to shake, and then fell heavily to the ground, with eyes rolled up, looking like it couldn't fight. Gyarados loses its ability to fight. Onyx wins. Xiaogang, the referee, immediately announced. TSK. No, Gyarados' acting skills need to be improved. Wutong shook his head and said that Gyarados was still far from the road to becoming an actor. Damn, I should have recorded it. Xiaoming said regretfully. I have already recorded it. This is a rare fake match scene of that gloomy monster. Xiaomao said as if he had been prepared. Win. Great, Onyx. I won. Night gym will not be closed. Jiro went from being unbelievable to being extremely surprised. He jumped off the command platform and hugged Onyx, shouting happily. Shinji glanced at Jiro, took back Gyarados, and prepared to leave. That Shinji brother. No, Shinji teacher. No, master. Thank you for your advice. I will definitely work hard to manage Nabi Gym. Jiro shouted at Shinji. I'm not your teacher or master. You win by yourself. If one day Nabi Gym doesn't do well, I will still close it. Shinji did not turn around and said coldly and returned to Wutong and the others. Yo, Shinji teacher master Shinji, you are so awesome. Xiaoming deliberately dragged out the tail tone. So exciting, I didn't expect that your gloomy face would have this day, ha 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 ha. But gloomy monster, have you forgotten that we are temporary workers? I will still close Nabi Gym, ha 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 ha. Xiaomao said with full sarcasm. As expected of my best friend. I understand. Boys, how can they not be second year students? Handsome is over. Wutong patted Shinji on the shoulder and said with a look of relief. After hearing what Wutong and the others said, Shinji's face rose. Oh no, I've been hanging out with this bastard for too long. How could he do such a thing and say such a thing? So, is the Nabi Gym safe now? Xiaogang walked over and asked. Of course, you have a good brother. Wutong replied with a smile. Yeah, it seems that I really don't need to worry about the Nabi Gym in the future. Xiaogang looked back at his brothers and sisters who surrounded Onyx and said with relief. Shinji, thank you very much this time. I always thought you were an indifferent person, but I didn't expect you to be willing to help Jiro. Xiaogang said to Shinji. I'm just fulfilling the obligations of a Pokémon inspector. Shinji replied coldly. Speaking of which, Xiaogang, you said you will continue to travel soon. Where are you going? Are you not with Xiaozhi? Wutong asked knowingly. I plan to go to the Hone region to see more Pokémon, learn Pokémon breeding techniques from different regions. Xiaozhi should have already set off for the Hone region. I plan to go there to find him. Xiaogang replied. Really? That's perfect. We are going to the Tokiwa gym now to conduct the last gym inspection and then go back to Pallet Town to see Professor Oak. We will also go to the Hone region later. Do you want to go with us? Wutong invited Xiaogang to go with us. Why invite Xiaogang? Of course, it's because Wutong wants to find a helper. Although Wutong's own skills as a breeder are close to the maximum level, there are always a few days when he is lazy. With Xiaogang here, his usual workload can be reduced by at least half. That's not bad. I also have a lot of questions about Pokémon breeders that I want to ask you. Xiaogang readily agreed. After all, Wutong can be his teacher on the road of Pokémon breeding. Anyway, everyone's final destination is the same, so there's nothing wrong with traveling together for a few days. And Shinji, Xiaomao, and Xiaoming certainly had no objections. After all, as the three people responsible for meals, they have long fully understood Xiaogang's logistical capabilities. With Xiaogang's joining, they will only shorten the time they wait for meals every day, and Xiaogang looks very reliable, unless they see the beautiful big sister. The few people who reached a consensus immediately prepared to set off. Xiaogang said goodbye to his parents and brothers and sisters. At the same time, he left all the Pokémon such as Onix, Geodude, and Forkbird to Jiro, hoping that they can help Jiro grow up. After receiving new clothes from his mother Xiaomi, Xiaogang officially set off with Wutong and others. Brother, goodbye. Master Shinji, I will never let you down. Jiro shouted loudly at the backs of the people leaving. Master Shinji, that's great. You already have an apprentice X3 Wutong and the other 3 Ts together. Shut up. Shinji replied irritably. Obviously, Wutong and the others would not stop because of Shinji's words, and a group of people moved noisily towards the last work location. Chapter 458. The old man was in trouble. At the entrance of the Tokiwa gym in Tokiwa City, Wutong and his group looked at the rebuilt Tokiwa gym in front of them and fell into deep thought. I remember that the owner of the Tokiwa gym was Sakaki, right? Xiaoming said. Yes, it's the boss of the rocket team, Sakaki. Xiaomao nodded and said. In other words, the Tokiwa gym should be unmanaged now, right? Xiaoming continued to ask. Do you think it looks like it's unmanaged? Shinji asked back. At this time, outside the Tokiwa gym, there were many trainers gathered there, looking like they wanted to go in but didn't dare. Excuse me, what are you doing? Why are you all gathered here and not going in? Xiaogang took the initiative to walk up and asked. We heard that the Viridian gym has reopened, so we wanted to challenge it. Trainer A said. But when we got here, we heard that the current gym leader of the Viridian gym is very scary, said Trainer B. I heard that the gym leader has been hiding in the darkness. All those who saw his true appearance were killed, said Trainer C. I heard that the new gym leader is not a human at all. He has 3 legs and a terrifying voice, and controls the darkness to swallow all the trainers who go to challenge him, said Trainer D. More and more trainers began to talk about the secret information they had inquired about, but the style of painting became more and more outrageous. A trainer from the Sinnoh region even said that the current gym leader of the Viridian gym is the incarnation of Giratina, whose goal is to rule the world and overthrow Arceus. Okay, don't say anything. Since you don't plan to go in, don't gather here. Wutong said helplessly to disperse these trainers. We are the Pokémon inspectors, and we are going to inspect the Tokiwa gym now, so please all leave first. If there is any news about the Tokiwa gym, we will deal with it. Xiaomao took out his PIA certificate and said, if you continue to stay here, we have the right to hand you over to Miss Juncture in the name of violating official duties. Shinji said coldly. So, hurry up and train those who need to train, replenish those who need to replenish supplies, don't believe those rumors, the Alliance will not ignore the gym with problems. Xiaoming waved his hand and said at last. After hearing the words of the 4 people, the trainers who were watching the show could only leave helplessly. Obviously, compared to challenging the Tokiwa gym, these guys mainly want to eat melons. TSK, what a group of pathetic bastards. Wutong shook his head and said as he looked at the trainers who left. Okay, let's go in and take a look. It's not okay to ignore the gym with strange legends. Xiaomao patted Wutong on the shoulder and walked in first while talking. I hope it's not a troublesome matter. Xiaoming followed in with his hands behind his head. Shinji didn't say much, but seeing the Pokeball he was holding in his hand, it was estimated that this guy was ready for the battle. Looking at the 4 people who walked into the Tokiwa gym, Xiaogang was a little dazed. When did these 4 guys become so reliable? If Wutong and the others knew Xiaogang's thoughts, their answers would probably be completely consistent. Of course, when they were working. After entering the Tokiwa gym, the whole environment suddenly became dim, and there was only a barely visible carpet-paved road leading to the depths of the Tokiwa gym. There was no sound, except the footsteps of a few people. The vague coldness surrounded them, making the entire Tokiwa gym even more gloomy. Everyone followed the carpet all the way, and came to the battlefield of the Tokiwa gym. Because of the skylight, the battlefield was finally not dark. A figure could be vaguely seen in the deeper place on the opposite side, but the upper body of the person was completely hidden in the darkness, and could not be seen clearly. Only from the long skirt and crutches on the lower body could it be seen that it should be an old woman. A new challenger? Are you ready? The old woman's voice sounded dry and hoarse, which made people feel cold. After the old woman's voice fell, Wutong and others clearly felt a chill. Shinji and others directly entered the battle state, while Wutong was thoughtful. Grandma Kakuko, is that you? Wutong asked. X4 Shinji and the other 4 all looked at Wutong in surprise. Huh? Is this voice Xiaotong? The old woman on the opposite side asked in a dry voice. After saying that, he walked out of the darkness. As expected, it was the Ghost King, Kakuko, one of the 4 kings in the Kanto region. It's you, but what's wrong with your voice? Wutong walked over and asked with concern. Grandma Kakuko, long time no see. Xiaomao seemed a little scared of this old friend of his grandfather and spoke a little restrained. HMPH, the kid from the Oak family is here too. Kakuko looked at Xiaomao and said with disdain. King Kakuko, hello. X3 facing the king. The remaining 3 people also greeted him obediently. It's because there is no gym leader in the Tokiwa gym now, and the alliance is short of manpower, so I have time to temporarily replace the gym leader of the Tokiwa gym. As a result, all the trainers came in a swarm. I said more in one day than I did in the past year, so my voice naturally became hoarse. Kakuko said a little angrily. Then why don't you turn on the lights? It's so cold in the house, which is not good for your health. Wutong continued to ask. When the Tokiwa gym was first built, there was a problem with the circuit system, so I couldn't turn on the lights. Later, I got used to it, and my Pokémon also prefer dark environments. As for the cold, look around you. Kakuko said. Jenga, Haunter, Ghastly. A large number of Jenga family members appeared next to Wutong and the others. And the Jenga with the darker color making faces next to Wutong was obviously Kakuko's trump card. Everyone was sweating profusely. No wonder they suddenly felt a chill when they entered the Tokiwa gym. It turned out that they had been monitored by these ghosts. The Tokiwa gym is back in business, and there are always some guys with bad intentions who want to sneak in. I simply let Jenga and the others move freely in the gym and deal with those guys. Kakuko said a little irritably. It seems that being the temporary gym leader of the Tokiwa gym is not that easy. Grandma Kakuko, let me make something to soothe your throat. Your throat will be damaged if you keep doing this. Don't talk for the next few days. You need to take good care of your throat. Wutong said with a little force as Kakuko's hoarse and dry voice sounded. Seeing Wutong's caring look, Kakuko was very happy, as if she had a grandson. However, she had a very close relationship with Anzi, and Wutong himself was half her grandson. But the Tokiwa gym still needs to be open. You 4 should work for Kona, let me rest, and then let the Tokiwa gym close again. Is that okay? Kakuko asked back. Don't worry, Grandma Kakuko, we will help manage the Tokiwa gym for a few days. As for the future, I will also think of a way. As for the acting gym owner, I'm familiar with this job. Wutong patted his chest and said confidently. Since Shinji did not refute what Wutong said, after all, this guy has been helping RC look after the gym for a long time. As a gym owner, he can be said to be very skilled. As for the task of acting as gym leader together, none of them refused, and they were even full of interest, especially Shinji. They have always been challengers, and it is also interesting to be the challenged occasionally, isn't it? Is that so? Well, I'll leave it to you. Kikuko thought for a while and said she had heard about Wutong helping RC to act as gym leader, and as a double champion of the Quartz Conference and the Silver Conference, Wutong had no problem with strength. In addition to Aquan and Xingzi behind Wutong, and Adu, Kona, Shiba and herself, Wutong can be said to have a good family background, and no problem at all. From this point of view, Wutong is really suitable to temporarily take over the gym leader of Tokiwa Gym with his experience, strength and background. Moreover, Wutong's ancestral home is also in Tokiwa City, so even the household registration is not a problem. The more Kikuko thought about it, the more she felt that Wutong was suitable. If she didn't want Wutong to continue traveling and complete his growth in strength, Kikuko would even want to recommend Wutong as the official gym leader of Tokiwa Gym. Xiaogang on the side was confused when he saw the interaction between Wutong and Kikuko. What was going on? Although he guessed that Wutong had an unusual background, he didn't expect it to be this serious. It looked like a grandson and a grandmother loving each other. I'll take Grandma Kikuko to rest first. I'll leave the gym work to you. I'll be back as soon as possible, Wutong said to Shinji and the others. This was also to take care of the feelings of Shinji and the others. Although Kikuko looked like a kind grandmother to Wutong, she was famous for being serious and cold when facing other people. Especially since Xiaomei was there, it would be strange if she could have a good face to Xiaomei given the love-hate relationship between Kikuko and Professor Oak. I'm not that old yet. Kikuko looked at Wutong and took the initiative to intervene, dissatisfied. Of course I know that Grandma Kikuko is still strong, but it's so dark here, it would be bad if she tripped over something, Wutong said with a smile. Seeing Wutong and Kikuko leave, Xiaomei breathed a sigh of relief. For Kikuko, his grandfather's old lover, Xiaomei really didn't know how to face him, and he was even a little scared. Then first of all, turn on all the lights, Xiaogang said after looking at the surrounding environment. Although Kikuko left, her ghastly, Haunter and other Pokémon were still here, and these ghost-type Pokémon acted as guides. Guided the four people to find various switches and functional equipment in the Tokiwa Gym. Following Kikuko to the lounge in the Tokiwa Gym, Wutong asked Kikuko to sit down and rest, and he went to the kitchen to start making throat clearing and throat moistening foods. Generally speaking, the most common foods for throat clearing and throat moistening are honey, pears, lemons and the like. But in the Pokémon world, there is definitely nothing else besides honey, but there are limu and pear similar to pears, and lemon fruit similar to lemon. So Wutong took out a few limu and pear, and a lemon fruit. First, wash the lemon fruit, rub the lemon fruit skin with salt, then cut the lemon fruit into thin slices, and pick out the seeds inside to avoid bitterness. Then put the cut lemon fruit into a mortar and crush it thoroughly, to release the aroma of the lemon fruit. Put the processed lemon simmer on low heat in the lemon fruit. At this time, wash the limo and pear fruit, peel them, cut them into appropriate small pieces, and put them into the pot to simmer together. Because limo, pear fruit and lemon fruit are sour fruits, a large amount of honey needs to be added to neutralize them. Of course, you can't add them immediately. Long-term stewing will destroy the structure of honey and affect the taste and effect of honey. Wait until the limo and pear fruit have been stewed until soft. Then add the premium honey brewed by the queen bee. Stir and simmer on low heat until it is soft. After the sweetness is fully integrated with the limoncello and pear fruit, you can turn off the fire. Let it cool down naturally, and it is best to eat it when it is warm. Disclaimer: the above production content is all made by Ice Cube. Please do not try to make it with real fruits. If you insist on making it, it is not delicious, and Ice Cube will not be responsible for any responsibility such as diarrhea. Sitting opposite Kikuko, watching Kikuko slowly eat the food she made, Wutong asked, Grandma Kikuko, if I want to apply for the position of temporary gym leader of Tokiwa, is the success rate high? Why are you interested in being a gym leader? Don't you plan to continue traveling? And Adu should just let you go. Kikuko ate the food made by Wutong, and her throat was indeed much more comfortable, and she asked slowly, No, I just think that being an acting gym leader is also a good way to train Pokémon, and as long as the gym can be guaranteed to operate normally during the agency period, there will be no problem, right? Wutong shook his head and said, although being a gym leader is not bad, it is definitely not now. After all, he still plans to dominate the conference and the entire region. And he does have a suitable candidate around him, who can not only make his Pokémon obedient, but also manage the Tokiwa gym. It seems that you want to find someone to manage the Tokiwa gym for you? Kikuko's words seemed to acquiesce that Wutong became the acting gym leader of the Tokiwa gym. Yes, I have a very suitable little guy here. Wutong nodded and replied. Really, since you have this idea, I will recommend it to you. After all, the Alliance can't find anyone now. If someone can help solve the mess of the Tokiwa gym, I think they will be very happy. Kikuko said. Thank you, Grandma Kikuko, I won't let you down. Wutong responded politely. Okay, since the things have been done and what you want to say has been said, go find your friends quickly. It's boring to accompany an old woman like me here. Kikuko said, get rid of them. How could that be? It's very interesting to chat with you, Grandma Kikuko. You can rest here. I'll go and tidy up the Tokiwa gym. Wutong replied. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459. After a long time, the whole battle is going to be over. Back to the battlefield of the Viridian Gym, with Xiao Gang, a versatile guy. The whole battlefield has become much more pleasing to the eye. Wutong did not slack off, and began to check the various necessary facilities of the Viridian Gym. The 5 of them worked hard for a day and finally solved all the problems of the Viridian Gym. Starting tomorrow, they can accept the challenge of trainers normally. As for the plan to temporarily take over the position of the Viridian Gym Master, Wutong also told Shinji and the others. After all, they can't really spend 10 days or half a month in the Viridian Gym. After the gym inspection, they still need to go back to KO to report the inspection. So the few people will stay here for 2 days at most. You guys are really making a big deal without making any noise. Xiao Mao looked at Wutong helplessly and said, you don't want to give up traveling and stay here? This is not your style, Xiao Ming said in surprise. Knowing the law and breaking it is a heavier crime, Shinji said coldly. Hey, don't say that. I will definitely dereliction of duty. I will definitely make the Tokiwa gym run normally, Wutong said unhappily. Xiao Gang on the side was directly offline. Is this the world of big guys? The acting gym leader can be the one who says so. Normal travel. The gym must also run normally. You guys, you won't. Shinji and the other 2 looked at Wutong and asked uncertainly. Hey, that's right. I plan to let Xiaoyi help me manage the gym, Wutong said without hesitation. It's illegal to employ child labor. Crossing, you're getting more and more angry these days. What an idiot. Xiao Mao, Xiao Ming and Shinji mocked him without hesitation. You're talking as if you're very old. Xiao AI is only 2 or 3 years younger than us. And is there really such a thing as child labor in this world? You started traveling at the age of 10. Wutong counterattacked directly. Xiao Mao and the other 2 looked away, looking as if they didn't understand what you said. Although Wutong had an idea, he still had to wait for Kikuko to recommend it before he could implement it. Fortunately, Kikuko was always decisive in doing things. After planning to help Wutong, she contacted the Alliance directly. The Alliance must have attached great importance to Kikuko's recommendation. After seeing the candidates recommended by Kikuko and Wutong's background and resume, the Alliance approved the application very quickly and granted Wutong the qualification of acting as the owner of the hall in just 2 days. The high efficiency made Wutong wonder if the Alliance had been looking for a takeover man to take over the Viridian Gym as soon as possible. After Wutong officially became the acting gym leader of the Viridian Gym, Kikuko also left. After all, as a superstar, she had many other things to do. Wutong also contacted Xiaoyi directly and explained her ideas. Xiaoyi has always been unconditionally supportive of what Wutong wants to do. He immediately took Ghastly and Mewtwo to Viridian City. The management of Clearcliff was handed over to Pikachu and Meowth. As a copy of Team Rocket's Meowth has not learned to speak, but it is very easy to master the operation of various machines in Clearcliff. And Pikachu also has leadership skills similar to Pikachu and is very prestigious among the Pokémon of Clearcliff. So it is also reassuring to hand it over to the two Mewtwo. Under the high-speed escort of Mewtwo, Xiaoxi arrived at the Viridian Gym before lunch. Chapter 460. The battle was over, and the battle was over. In the battlefield of the Tokiwa Gym, Wutong has released all his Pokémon. Of course, Steelix and Iron Warrior still have no chance to appear. Although Shinji and the other two know Wutong's hidden identity, Xiaogang is still there after all. If you want to be the acting gym leader of the Tokiwa Gym, the Pokémon used to welcome the challenger are very important. Wutong has no extra choice, just these Pokémon on his body. Hearing the call of Big Brother, Xiaoxi makes a shining appearance. I'm here, Big Brother. Just when Wutong was checking the physical condition of his Pokémon, Xiaoxi suddenly appeared beside Wutong and said with a cute pose, "You came quickly, Xiaoxi, you've worked hard. Where are Mewtwo and Old Ghost?" Wutong asked after rubbing Xiaoxi's head. "Hehe, Xiaoxi, did you miss me? Did you buy the latest Playboy?" Ghastly's big face appeared next to Wutong and asked. At the same time, Wutong felt a familiar mental wave flashing through his brain. It seems that Mewtwo is also there, but he just didn't show up. Mewtwo's refusal to show up is definitely not because he is shy, which means Wutong thought so and looked at the entrance of the battlefield. Sure enough, Xiaogang walked in with a challenger. Following Xiaogang was a girl with Solly V. Long time no see, Wutong. The girl greeted Wutong happily after seeing him. "Oh, it's Sakura. You came to travel to the Kanto region. This is Solly V. Your EV has evolved," Wutong responded. The girl who followed Xiaogang in was Sakura, one of the 5 sisters and the inheritor of the prayer dance in Yuansu City. Yes, after Eevee evolved into Sunny V, it learned Morning Light. Now our performance is even more exciting. Sakura did not forget to advertise her own performance. "Really? That's really exciting, but you are traveling, so what about your performance?" Wutong asked curiously. "It doesn't matter. The 4 sisters can also perform, but the effect is not so perfect. They also support me to travel," Sakura said. "Xiaotong, did you and Sakura know each other?" Xiaogang asked when he saw that the conversation between the two was so smooth. "Yes, it was thanks to Wutong that my sisters agreed to let me travel," Sakura said gratefully. "That's also the result of your own efforts. I just helped you get an opportunity. The person who seized that opportunity is you," Wutong said modestly. "I feel more and more that your connections are terrible, Xiaotong. By the way, who is the little girl behind you? Where did she come from?" Xiaogang asked Xiaoxi behind Wutong. "She is my sister, and the one I chose to help me manage the Tokiwa Gym. Come on, Xiaoxi, say hello," Wutong said to Xiaoxi behind him. "Hello, my name is Xiaoxi. My goal is to become a Pokémon breeder as good as my big brother," Xiaoxi said resentfully. "Hello, cute little sister. My name is Sakura," Sakura replied. "Pokémon breeder? That's a good goal. Let's work hard together." "But Xiaotong, you said that you want Xiaoxi to help you manage the Tokiwa Gym. Is that okay?" Xiaogang said calmly. "Don't worry, Sakura. Are you ready to challenge the Tokiwa Gym?" Wutong asked Sakura. "Yes, I heard that the strongest gym in the Kanto region is back in business, so I want to take a look and give it a try," Sakura said. "In that case, Xiaoxi, let them see your strength," Wutong said to Xiaoxi. "I understand, big brother." "Sakura's sister, please give me more advice," Xiaoxi said. Xiaogang was a little puzzled. After all, at Xiaoxi's age, she should not even have her own Pokémon, so how could she help manage the gym? You know, even if his younger brother is the son of the gym owner, he has grown up in the gym and does not have his own Pokémon. But Xiaogang immediately understood that Wutong wanted to use the same method he used to his younger brother. As a ground type gym, Tokiwa Gym must have a ground type facade, although the acting gym owner does not need to worry about these. But Wutong decided to give Sakaki a face and not to bring down the reputation of Tokiwa Gym. So it was Swampert commanded by Xiao AI that was fighting against Sakura's Celebi. You know, besides Wutong himself, Xiao AI was the one who had the most contact with Wutong and other Pokémon. When she was still pretending to be the AI of the Pokémon Encyclopedia, she was very familiar with Swampert and others. After she recovered as a normal person, her relationship with Swampert and others became better, so Swampert and others were not opposed to Xiao AI's command at all. In addition, with the close guidance of Ghastly and Mutuo, who had unknown amount of experience, Xiao AI's command ability was not bad. Sakura and Celebi were completely suppressed. How is it, not bad? Wutong asked with a smile. Chapter 461. The battle between Xiao AI and Sakura ended with Sakura's defeat. Although Sakura lost, Wutong still gave Sakura the badge of the Tokiwa Gym. After all, the issuance of gym badges is very flexible. As long as the gym owner recognizes it, you can get the badge. In the evening, Shinji and the other two returned to the Tokiwa Gym. In order to save time, while Wutong was handling the affairs of the Tokiwa Gym, the three of them went directly back to the gym they had inspected to see how the rectification was going. Xiaoxia certainly did not disappoint the trust of several people, and let the Hulan Gym resume normal business, and managed it better than her sisters. So far, the Hulan Gym has truly resolved the crisis. After seeing Xiaoyi playing happily with Xiaohuo, Xiaogi, and Xiao, the three of them also greeted each other familiarly. After all, they have been in Kingscliff for a long time, and Xiaoyi, a cute and well-behaved little sister, has a good relationship with them. Even Shinji is willing to show his rare kind side to Xiaoyi. Of course, out of professional ethics, Shinji and the other two still tested Xiaoyi's strength. Constantly exchanging and using Wutong's various Pokémon, Xiaoyi can also fight back and forth with Shinji and the other two. This made Xiaogang a little itchy, but unfortunately he only brought one Pokémon, Forretus. In any case, the strength as an acting gym leader is definitely enough. After that, Wutong and the others took Xiaoyi to familiarize herself with the various facilities in the Changpun Gym, especially the Pokémon transmission device. This device is the most important part of Wutong's role as acting gym leader, and letting Xiaoyi help run the Changpun Gym. After all, Wutong plans to keep most of the Pokémon in Changpun Gym for training, and only carries 4 main battle Pokémon with him in case of emergency. Of course, Steelix and Iron Warrior are not among them. In order for Xiaotang to act normally, these 2 main battle Pokémon must not be separated from Xiaotang. As for the other Pokémon, their fighting styles have gradually matured, and their training directions have been determined. Their daily diets are also regular. They don't need to stay with you completely before they encounter bottlenecks. Of course, if it is just like this, Wutong can send them to their grandparents, but Wutong does not intend to let them live a retirement life so early. Staying in Changpun Gym can fully guarantee their own combat needs. After all, Changpun Gym is well known, and trainers who dare to challenge Changpun Gym are more or less powerful, and they can often meet strong trainers. This is also very helpful for the growth of Swampert. In addition, Wutong has told Xiaoyi to let Swampert try to fight independently and reduce the command. This can also train their independent fighting ability. It can be said that Wutong completely regards the Viridian Gym as a daily training copy for his Pokémon. Anyway, he also has a portable Pokémon transmission device, which is not much different from carrying it with him. Of course, there will always be some noobs who know nothing to challenge. At that time, Xiaoyi can let the Pokémon in the Cliff of Clearness who have nowhere to vent their energy and want to fight come to play. In this way, the Pokémon facing trainers of different levels are also ready. As for the safety issue, there is Ghastly to help on the surface and Mutuo to protect in secret. To be honest, Wutong can't think of any gym that is safer than the current Viridian Gym. If Xiaoyi wants to become a Pokémon breeder, he also needs some experience in taking care of Pokémon. Although the cloned Pokémon in the Cliff of Clearness are also good training objects, there is not much fighting there after all. Therefore, Xiaoyi could not fully practice the knowledge of Pokémon breeders. In the Changpun Gym, Wutong's Pokémon were all strong and healthy after being bred by Wutong. Xiaoyi did not like to make any strange inventions, and Wutong did not need to worry about anything. After accompanying Xiaoxia to adapt to the life of acting gym leader for another day, Wutong and his friends continued to set off, leaving most of the Pokémon behind in the Changpan gym. At this time, Wutong had to train the 4 new members of the team. Apart from the little guy, there are only the Pteranodon, Platypus, Ditto, Onion Ranger, and Steelix and Iron Warrior, the main Pokémon in the pupil mode. Oh, by the way, there is also the little home Geralium and Rotom in the shadow of the sycamore. From this point of view, the team is still very lively. Chapter 462. The old man was very happy. In the Kanto region, Pallet Town, in Professor Oak's research institute, hard-working Xiaoxia fed Xiaoxia his Pokémon with the help of Moon Concubine. When Xiaoxia finished feeding Xiaoxia his Pokémon, and was about to feed Professor Oak, the doorbell rang. After opening the door, a Magikarp was thrown directly over. Xiaoxia subconsciously caught the Magikarp, which was very energetic, and twisted its body wildly, making Xiaoxia a little flustered. Look, this Magikarp. An uncle with a face full of profiteers walked in and said, What's wrong? Xiaoxia asked, while trying to control the Magikarp. Very healthy, right? I'll just tell you, this Magikarp can lay golden eggs. The profiteer uncle said mysteriously. Gold? Xiaoxia's face was even more confused. That's right, it can lay 1,000 golden eggs a day, and its offspring can also lay 1,000 golden eggs, or 1,000. Let's do the math, this is an astronomical figure. The profiteer uncle rubbed his hands and said, Magikarp can't lay so many eggs at all. Xiaoxia didn't know where to start complaining for a moment. Do you want to buy this Magikarp? The profiteer uncle seemed to have not heard Xiaoxia's words, and continued to sell. I won't buy it at all, Xiaoxia said speechlessly as he returned the Magikarp to the profiteer uncle. What's wrong, Xiaoxia? Professor Oak, who had not waited for the feeding, walked to the door and asked. This uncle is here to sell Magikarp. Xiaoxia pointed at the profiteer uncle and said helplessly. What? Who are you? You're actually selling Pokémon. Professor Oak got angry and questioned when he heard it. Yes, this is the Pokémon Research Institute. Xiaoxia followed. What? Pokémon Research Institute? Sorry. The profiteer found that he seemed to have come to the wrong place and left quickly. Really, it is because of that kind of people that we are troubled. Professor Oak said as he looked at the closed door. Yes, they are selling Pokémon. Xiaoxia also echoed angrily. At this time, the doorbell rang again. The faces of Professor Oak and Xiaoxia suddenly became gloomy. Xiaoxia opened the door angrily and shouted at the same time, I said we don't want it. Ah, is it Xiaoxia's mother? After opening the door, Xiaoxia found that it was not the profiteer uncle outside the door, but an Akko with a basket and a suction cup puppet. I just made cookies, so I wanted to bring them to you, but you seem to be very busy. Hanako said. No, a strange guy just came. Please come in. Xiaoxia quickly invited Hanako in. At the same time, in the backyard of Professor Oak's laboratory, in an area comparable to the wild wilderness area, a Raiden and an Queen were walking together. Not far from them, Bulbasaur, who was promoted to the chief steward of the palace, was patrolling the backyard. Bulbasaur saw Raiden and Nidoqueen passing by, and showed a puzzled expression on his face. It seemed that he had never seen these two guys before. But immediately, Bulbasaur shook his head, maybe they were new. However, Bulbasaur didn't care, but there were Pokémon who cared. Crocodile saw Raiden and Nidoqueen, and followed them happily. Dig mud. Crocodile chased Raiden and Nidoqueen, and after digging mud, he used 2 water guns. Raiden and Nidoqueen were both covered in mud. The sudden attack made them both confused. Then we saw Crocodile dancing happily, because of the successful sneak attack. What's wrong with this little sore Crocodile? Nidoqueen was so angry that she spoke in human language. Get out of here, we don't have time to play with you. Raiden said rudely, and kicked the dancing little sore Crocodile away. Dig mud. The little sore Crocodile was kicked and rolled on the ground. The little sore Crocodile jumped up and sprayed a mouthful of water cannon. Look at me bounce the water cannon back. Raiden said, and the stone body on the right side cracked, and something like a pot cover stretched out, and the little sore Crocodile's water cannon was directly bounced back. Unexpectedly, his water cannon could be bounced back, and the little saw crocodile did not dodge at all, and was blown away by his water cannon. After blowing away the little saw crocodile, Raiden and Nidoqueen continued to move forward, and came to a flat rock. Raiden and Nidoqueen took off their disguises. Yes, Yamato and Xiaoxi, who haven't appeared for a long time. Ahem. No, it's Yamato and Xiaoxia. The two who took off their disguises were seen clearly by a walking grass, which immediately turned around and ran away. Whoosh, there is a cutscene here. On the way to the Oak Research Institute, the profiteer uncle holding Magikarp ran hurriedly. Really, if I had known that I was going to the Pokémon Research Institute, I should have asked for more money. Next time, I must ask for a high price for this kind of work, the profiteer uncle said indignantly. Oh, then how much are you going to ask for? Humph, at least 5,000. The profiteer uncle felt something was wrong halfway through, and turned his neck stiffly to the direction where the sound came from. 4 people wearing uniforms and long windbreakers were followed by a squinting black boy. Please be sure to tell me in detail what you did at the Oak Research Institute, which is what you called the Pokémon Research Institute, Wutong asked with a smile. Xiaomao and the other two surrounded the profiteer uncle in tacit understanding, not giving him a chance to escape. There is a very rare Pokémon flying. The profiteer uncle suddenly pointed to the sky and shouted. However, no one was distracted by his childish way. There. Well, Xiaogang was distracted. It seems that he has done something bad. Xiaomao said with a serious look. Do it directly, or leave it to Miss Junxia. Do we have the power to enforce the law in this regard? Xiaoming asked. When encountering criminals, both the Pokémon Inspector and the Pokémon Investigator have the right to subdue and detain them, but the Inspector needs to hand over the criminal to Miss Junxia for processing. Shinji said calmly. Well, is it too late for me to surrender now? The profiteer uncle swallowed hard and asked carefully. Chapter 463. The old man was very angry. The chief steward, the lonely traveler Bulbasaur, became alert after receiving the report from the informant Luca. He immediately came to the Oak Research Institute. After all, although Bulbasaur is the chief steward, he can't solve all problems. In addition to the informant Luca, there is also a new victim, Litten, following Bulbasaur. After knocking on the window of Professor Oak's office, Hanako opened the window and saw that it was Bulbasaur. They turned around and asked Professor Oak. However, Professor Oak seemed very busy at this time and said that he would talk about it later. The 3 Bulbasaur, who had no way to communicate, began to look for Xiaojian. After finding Xiaojian, who was feeding other Pokémon, Bulbasaur didn't say much and directly used the Vine Whip to tie up Xiaojian. However, the target of the search, Yamato and Spearow, had successfully sneaked into the Oak Research Institute and found the warehouse where the Pokémon stored by other trainers in the Oak Research Institute were located. It's here, Spearow said happily, looking at the door of the warehouse. We are indeed different from those 2 trashes, Musashi and Kajiro. Yamato followed. X2 Yamato and Spearow covered their mouths immediately when they were about to laugh. They were still in the stealth stage and couldn't be discovered. The two opened the door of the warehouse and saw a piece of Pokeball placed on the device and a black duck holding a green onion. Duck. This duck seems to be. Yamato and Spearow immediately broke out in cold sweat when they saw the Pokémon in front of them. Gather Green Onion Soldier hooked his wings to Yamato and Spearow. Of course, Yamato and Xiaoxia would not be fooled. They subconsciously took a step back, but the two who took a step back bumped into a hot body. Buban greeted in a friendly manner, and the duck-billed flame beast put its arms on the shoulders of the two. It's been a long time since we last met. I didn't expect you to be more and more courageous. A voice that sounded like a devil to the two sounded. Yamato and Xiaoxia turned to the direction of the voice with stiff necks. Wutong and the other 4 appeared in front of Yamato and Xiaoxia, while Xiaogang took the profiteer uncle to find Miss Junxia to build a relationship. The guy who wants to harm the institute is unforgivable, Xiaomao said gloomily. Everyone always has a few things that cannot be hurt. Obviously, for Xiaomao, his grandfather Dr. Oak and his institute are among them. that, Xiaomao Wutong tried to comfort Xiaomao. Blue's turtle. Water cannon. Send these two guys out. Xiaomao shouted. Kami. Blasto Eyes used the maximum power of the water cannon, and Yamato and Spearow broke through the roof and turned into a star in the sky. The roof is broken, Master Xiaomao Xiaoming said, looking at the conspicuous big hole. Too impulsive, the two of them can't run away at all. Don't they even have this little self-control? Reckless playboys? Shinji said coldly and venomously. Xiaomao also found that he seemed to be a little bit drunk and looked away a little embarrassedly. Well, maybe the recent work pressure is too great and I'll find the superpower construction team to repair it later. What happened? Professor Oak also rushed over at this time, looking at the mess in front of him, and asked in surprise. This is really... Hanako covered her mouth and said as she looked at the miserable scene in front of her. Chapter 464. The scene was a mess, but the whole thing was ruined. Seeing the mess, Xiaojian felt terrible. After all, as Dr. Oak's assistant, he would definitely be responsible for the repairs afterwards. However, after learning that the rocket team that had sneaked in had been blown away, and there was no other loss, except the roof that was shot through, Xiaojian was relieved. Xiaojian stayed to clean up the mess, and Wutong and the others followed Dr. Oak to his office. Normally, they didn't need to come to Pallet Town. After all, there was no local in Pallet Town except Xiaomao. But Xiaomao wanted to have the most sincere and direct communication between grandfather and grandson with Dr. Oak. So Wutong and his friends came to the Oak Research Institute together. In addition, Wutong planned to save some trouble and directly upgrade the National Illustrated Book with Professor Oak. Although the Pokémon Illustrated books after that are also good, the most classic one is still the first generation illustrated book. Wutong and his friends wandered around the Oak Research Institute with nothing to do. After a while, Xiaogang came back. Looking at his sleazy look, he must have been praised by Miss Junsha. Xiaomao also ended the grandfather-grandson communication with Professor Oak. Seeing the gratified expression on Professor Oak's face, Wutong and his friends knew that the communication between the two must have been very smooth. In fact, it is also normal. After all, Professor Oak's personality is very open-minded. As long as Xiaomao is not planning to do bad things, Dr. Oak will basically support him unconditionally. After seeing the state of Xiaomao and Dr. Oak, Wutong grabbed Shinji's shoulder and said in a tone like a gangster picking a fight, "My dear friend, when are you going to reconcile with your brother, idiot?" Shinji said after glancing at Wutong coldly. In fact, Shinji and Lacey's relationship has basically been restored because of Wutong and Azumi Anzi. It's just that, because of Shinji's awkward personality, he doesn't seem to know how to communicate with Lacey now. Occasionally, when Shinji contacts Lacey, Lacey keeps talking, and Shinji is just there saying this is it. It can be said that Shinji has mastered the essence of supporting the role. This is that tsundere that Wutong has been talking about, right? Xiaoming said. Looking at the two guys who sang the same tune, Shinji's eyes began to twitch. Hold it in. The more these two bastards deal with them, the more excited they become. Wutong and Xiaoming also know when to stop, otherwise it will be bad if they really make Shinji angry. The few of them did not waste time and went directly to Professor Oak to upgrade their Pokémon encyclopedia. After staying overnight at the Oak Research Institute, Wutong and the other four went to report to Kona and receive their part-time work wages. Xiaogang naturally followed Wutong and the others. They came to the Quartz Plateau, the headquarters of the Pokémon League. Wutong and the other five came to Kona's office without any obstacles. "Sister Kona, we are back from work," Wutong said casually. However, the moment they saw Kona, Wutong and the others were stunned. Is this woman with a gloomy face, dark circles behind her glasses, tangled hair and even a faint oily sheen really Kona? "Oh, you are here. Sit over there and rest for a while. Wait for me." Kona raised her head and stared at the few people with dead fish eyes. Wutong and the other five couldn't help swallowing their saliva as they watched Kona stagger into the room. Would she be silenced? After a painful wait, Kona reappeared. "Well done, Xiaotang, you are worthy of being the one I chose. You did a great job in the gym inspection this time," Kona said in front of the five people with great energy. It was as if the Kona just now was an illusion. Wutong and the other 5 were very tactful and did not ask what happened to Kona just now. Thank you for the compliment, Sister Kona. Then we will return this temporary certificate to you directly, Wutong said, holding a pile of clothes and certificates. Do you remember that I said there is a reward for working part-time? Kona asked instead of reaching out to take it. Wutong and the others nodded. This is your award, the qualification of Pokémon Inspector. If you want to become a Pokémon Inspector in the future, you can directly skip the exam and the apprenticeship stage with this. Of course, you can also exercise some of the rights of the Inspector in special circumstances, but the consequences of misusing them casually are very serious, Kona said with a smile. Xiaoming and Shinji were a little surprised. After all, this reward was much richer than they had imagined. Xiaomao has already determined his future path. I don't really care. As for Wutong, he became more alert. No, he was tricked. Chapter 465. The weather was very hot, but the weather was very good. On the deck of a cruise ship, Wutong and his companions leaned on the railing, looking at the approaching coast. In front of them was the starting point of Wutong and his companions' journey to the home region, the town of Weebay, which was called the town that could not be stained by any color. Although the whole town was full of tall buildings and modern atmosphere, there was a very large forest group around Weebay town. Perhaps it was unknown how long ago that Weebay town was really a town that could not be rendered by any color and remained pure and natural. But pure white still could not resist the changes of time and eventually became a modern appearance. Although the Pokémon illustrated books of the 4 Wutongs had been upgraded by Professor Oak, they still needed to meet Professor Adamaki first when they arrived in the home region. According to the route map given by Professor Oak, Wutong and his companions came to the edge of the forest, where the Odaki Institute was located. However, Dr. Odaki's assistant Xiaoxia told them that Dr. Odaki had gone out to observe the living conditions of Pokémon. However, the place where Dr. Odaki went was not far, so Xiaoxia thought that, if he looked around, he should be able to find Dr. Odaki. Wutong and his companions discussed it, and felt that, since there was nothing to do here anyway, it would be better to go out and look for him directly. But before that, Wutong contacted Xiaoxia at the Tokiwa gym. Xiaoxia, how is the gym? Are you still adapting? Yes, I have arrived in the home region. Yes, that's right. Please teleport Swampert to me. After taking out Swampert's Pokeball from the portable Pokémon transmission device, Wutong and his companions began to look for Dr. Odaki. With the Odaki Institute as the center, the 5 Wutongs headed in 5 different directions. Of course, Wutong has Rotom and 2 generations of navigation ducks to accompany him, so he is not afraid of disappearing. After finding Dr. Odaki, with the platypus on the left, the onion soldier on the right, and Rotom flying overhead, Wutong is moving forward in the forest at will. He keeps looking around, looking for Dr. Odaki. Woof, woof. X3 After searching for a while, Wutong heard a dog barking in the distance. Wutong couldn't help but frowned, thinking to himself, it can't be such a coincidence. Wutong immediately ran towards the direction of the dog barking with a few Pokémon. Pushing aside the bushes that blocked the view, under a tree, a slightly wealthy middle-aged man was being chased by 3 coyotes around the tree. Looking at the scene in front of him with a strong sense of deja vu, Wutong's expression was complicated. It seems that the IQ of these 3 coyotes is not very high. If any of them had a little brain, Dr. Odaki would probably have been covered with teeth marks. Trainer over there, please help me. Dr. Odama saw Wutong and shouted for help, as if he had seen a savior. Swampert, go and help. Wutong did not choose to let the Pokémon around him take action, but released Swampert. Rag. Swampert appeared, picked up a stone, took a glance, and threw it directly. It must be said that Swampert was very accurate in seconds, and the stone flew directly from behind Dr. Odama and hit the big tree. A loud noise appeared, scaring the coyote behind to brake suddenly, which also caused the coyote behind to brake in time, and a chain rear end accident occurred. Rag. Swampert bumped his fists and roared at the 3 coyote dogs. Woo woo. The 3 coyote dogs trembled, yelled at Swampert, and ran away in shame. Dr. Adamaki, who was out of danger, breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground. The next second, Dr. Adamaki felt a darkening overhead, and when he looked up, he saw Swampet's big face with a silly smile. "Are you the water jumper that went to Dr. Oak's place?" Dr. Adamaki did not feel scared, but seemed to recognize Swampet. Rag Swampet grinned and shouted happily. "In other words, you are Xiaotong?" Seeing Swampet's appearance, Adamaki looked at Wutong and asked. "Yes, Dr. Adamaki, I'm Wutong, and I just arrived in the Hone region today." Wutong nodded and responded. "You have trained Swampet very well, and it seems that sending it to Dr. Oak is the right choice. You also like Xiaotong in your current life, right, Swampet?" Dr. Adamaki looked at Wutong. Swampet asked with relief. "Rag." Swampet patted his chest and shouted. "Dad, are you okay?" Just as Dr. Adamaki and Swampet continued to reminisce about the past, a voice appeared. Then a boy ran over. This was a boy wearing a white knitted hat, a red and black jacket, orange fingerless gloves on his hands, and black sweat pants on his lower body. Looking at this familiar clothing and appearance, Wutong was a little stunned. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466. The more you look at the picture, the more you will see. Wutong was only stunned for a second or two. After all, he has lived in this world for more than 10 years, and is very sure that this world is an animation worldview that has nothing to do with the world of the Pokémon special comics. In this world, there is only Xiaoxia but no Saphir, so the boy in front of him who looks very much like Ruby can only be another person. Wutong began to search his memory of animation in his mind. After learning superpowers, searching for the very clear Pokémon memory in his mind that has never faded can be said to be very easy. Finally, Wutong found the result he wanted. The boy in front of him should be called Xiaoyao, who appeared as a crossover in the theater version of Jirachi, Manaphy and Shamey. If it weren't for the fact that his memories of Pokémon were becoming clearer and clearer, and Wutong's habit of not skipping the opening and ending credits of the anime he watched for the first time, Wutong probably wouldn't have remembered Xiaoyao. And from what he said just now, Dr. Adamaki should be his father. Isn't it the opposite of the special comics? This pink giant Swampert, may I ask, are you Senior Wutong? Just as Wutong was thinking, a polite and steady, but slightly embarrassed voice appeared. "Yes, I'm Wutong. Who are you?" Wutong asked. "Senior Wutong, my name is Xiaoyao. I watched your games in the Quartz Conference and the Silver Conference. I have always admired you, so my initial Pokémon is also the Water Leap," Xiaoyao said excitedly after hearing Wutong's affirmative answer. "Really? Hehe, I'm not that good." Wutong scratched his head and said in Shin-chan mode. "How could that be? Your strength is obvious to everyone. I'm about to start my journey, and you are the goal I'm working hard for," Xiaoyao continued. "Hehe, keep talking, I love to hear it," Wutong said confusedly. "Rug?" Swampert showed a puzzled expression when he saw the appearance of his trainer. Gap. Onion Soldier called out to Platypus twice, asking if his trainer was okay with this appearance. Buban Platypus shook his head to indicate that it was okay to just smile at this time. "Well, today's research is over here, Xiaoyao. Let's go back to the research institute first." Dr. Odaki, who witnessed the fan meeting, interrupted the conversation between the two and said, Wutong came out to find Dr. Odaki, and now that he has found him, of course he can go back directly. And Xiaoyao, Wutong's little fan, had no objection. With Dr. Odaki and Xiaoyao leading the way, Wutong put away his two navigation ducks and mobile phone Rotom. Back at the Odaki Institute, Shinji and his 4 companions had finished their search and returned here. They seemed to be discussing something. "What are you doing?" "I found Dr. Odaki," Wutong asked curiously. "We are thinking whether to go find you," Xiaoming said. "After all, you haven't come back." Xiaomeo followed. "After all, Xianatong, you are a person with poor directions." Xianagang also said. "A hopeless person with poor directions." Shinji ended the game coldly. Wutong was speechless. These guys didn't trust him too much. Even if they didn't trust him, they had to trust Rotom and the navigation duck. Ha 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 ha. It seems that your companions are very worried about you, Xiaotang. Dr. Odaki on the side said with a smile. Hello, seniors. Xiaoxia greeted politely. At this time, Shinji and his companions remembered the main thing, and they all greeted Dr. Odaki obediently. Dr. Odaki entered the institute after responding. Xiaogang followed in, because he wanted to ask about Xiaozhi. As expected, as a male mother, Xiaogang was really worried about his child Xiaozhi traveling alone. Shinji and others showed interest in Xiaoyao. After all, it was the first time they saw such a polite junior who took the initiative to call them seniors. Oh, Wutong is not. He already has Nana who always calls him senior. Xiaoyao, who was surrounded by a group of seniors, did not feel stage fright at all, and his words were full of calmness. After Xiaoyao said that he was Wutong's fan, Shinji and the other two showed regretful expressions. It was as if a good child is looking forward to something was written on their faces. Hey, I say you three have had enough. Wutong saw through their thoughts at a glance and said unhappily. Since you plan to target this guy, will you also participate in the KIR conference? Xiaoming asked curiously. Yes, I originally planned to train for a while before participating in the conference, but Senior Wutong came to travel in the Hone region, and I also hope to have the opportunity to fight Senior Wutong in the conference. Xiaoyao said. Really, we are very optimistic about you. It would be best to eliminate this bastard in the preliminaries. Xiaomeo encouraged Xiaoyao unscrupulously. Senior Xiaomeo, you are joking. How can I be Senior Wutong's opponent so soon? I can just hold on for a while longer under Senior Wutong. Xiaoyao waved his hand and said. If you want to fight, you can do it now. Go ahead. It's time to guide the newcomers. Shinji pushed Wutong and said. Ah, me again. Wutong asked after being pushed out. Who else could it be if not you? X3 Shinji and the other two said in unison. Wutong thought that Xiaoyao was targeting him and wanted to fight him, and he was the only one who had the right Pokémon. After all, he had 4 babies waiting to be trained. Is it really okay, Senior Wutong? Won't it waste your time? Xiaoyao looked at Wutong and asked with embarrassment and expectation. Don't be so polite, just speak in plain language. It's awkward to always bring you along. And it's just a Pokémon battle, how can it waste time? As a trainer, Pokémon battles are the most basic of the basics. Wutong casually took out a Pokéball and said. I know, then I'll trouble you, Senior Wutong. Xiaoyao listened to the advice very well and said while holding a Pokéball. The two of them directly distanced themselves, and Shinji and the other two also skillfully distanced themselves, leaving the battlefield for the two. Go, Water Leap. Xiaoyao, who had just received the initial Pokémon, obviously had no extra choices. Of course, Xiaoyao's first battle should be this one. Go, Yao. Wutong threw the Pokéball and shouted. Gilu the Water Leap fish, which was still in its cute stage, appeared in front of Xiaoyao. Yao stood opposite the Water Leap fish and shouted with full of energy. The long-awaited guidance battle began. Chapter 467. After calling out their respective Pokémon, Wutong and Xiaoyao did not take any action. Wutong was not in a hurry, while Xiaoyao looked like he was waiting for instructions. Perhaps it was because the trainers he had met since traveling were too individualistic, and Wutong was still a little uncomfortable with meeting such a polite and steady child. You attack first. Let me see how much you know about Pokémon battles. Wutong said. I know. Water Leap. Use a water gun. Xiaoyao gave the command without hesitation. Gurgle. A small stream of water shot out of the mouth of Water Leap. Yao. Dodge, and then use the scary face. Wutong commanded. Yo-yi. Yao nimbly jumped to the side to avoid the water gun of the water jump fish, and then pulled up his cheeks with his 2 claws to make a scary face. Although Yao is still young, he has been living in Silver Mountain since he was born, avoiding the attacks of other Pokémon and surviving alone, which makes him very experienced in dodging skills. In addition, Xiaoyao's water jump fish seems to be even smaller than Yao, has 0 combat experience, and is not very good at attacking. So Yao's dodging seems very easy. When the water jump fish saw Yao Yao's scary face, his body froze, and his movements became slow. Yao Yao, hit. Wutong seized the opportunity to continue commanding. Yo Yi. Yao Yao heard Wutong's command, and directly hit the water jump fish. The water jump fish, which had no combat experience, seemed a little panicked, and the effect of the scary face made it not dodge directly. Water jump fish, calm down, hit. Xiao Yao seemed very decisive and directly commanded. Gurgle. Hearing the voice of his trainer, Water Leap also tried to hit Yo-Yo. However, Water Leap was still a little slow. It was hit by Yo-Yo just after making the collision. However, this still offset some of the damage caused by Yo-Yo's collision. Yo-Yi. Yo-Yo bit the fin on the top of Water Leap's head. The very sensitive fin was bitten, and Water Leap immediately screamed in pain. Water Leap, throw it off. Xiao Yao tried to let Water Leap dissolve the attack. However, Yao Yao turned over and rode on the back of Water Leap, grabbing Water Leap's head with two claws and biting Water Leap's fins without relaxing his mouth. Water Leap tried to shake its body, but its strength seemed not enough to throw Yo-Yo off, and it eventually lost its ability to fight. Yo. The victorious Yao Yao walked back to Wutong, pinched his waist with his two little paws, and proudly raised his head, looking like he was waiting for praise. Very good, you played well. Wutong also cooperated very well, rubbed Yao Yao's head and praised. Xiao Yao picked up the defeated Water Leap fish, and there was no reluctance or regret on his face. Thank you for your hard work, Water Leap fish. Xiao Yao gently stroked the Water Leap fish, and put it back into the Pokeball. Thank you for your guidance, Senior Wutong. Xiao Yao said politely to Wutong, after putting away the Water Leap fish. What do you think of the first battle? Wutong looked at Xiao Yao's calm appearance, and couldn't help asking. As expected of Senior Wutong, you are very decisive in command, and the strength of young Kiris is also very strong. I need to work harder if I want to catch up with Senior Wutong. Xiao Yao replied. After hearing Xiao Yao's reply, Wutong felt something was wrong, and couldn't help asking, don't you feel unwilling to lose? Why should I feel unwilling? Isn't it natural that I would lose to Senior Wutong? After all, Senior Wutong, you are the champion of 2 tournaments. I haven't even started my journey yet, and Xiaoxia hasn't trained yet. Xiao Yao asked in confusion. Wutong knew what was wrong. Xiao Yao's desire for victory was too weak, or Xiao Yao was a little blindly worshipping him. Although it feels good to have such a blindly worshipping little fan, it is obviously not a good choice. Don't you want to win? No, that's not right. Why do you think you can't win? Wutong asked with a frown. Because you are Senior Wutong. Xiao Yao repeated his answer. No. Even if I won the championship of 2 tournaments, I'm still a trainer. If I use the same training equipment I used when I participated in the tournament, I will be defeated. Pokémon, I can understand you, but my Pokémon is only a few months old. Wutong said seriously. Xiao Yu was stunned after hearing Wutong's words. There is almost no difference in Pokémon. Even if there is a gap between us in command ability, this gap is not absolute under the extremely limited skill selection. Wutong continued. Xiao Yu has fallen into thought. You didn't think you could win from the beginning, right? Since you always call me senior, I will tell you one thing as a senior. As a trainer, failure is not terrible, but the terrible thing is the lack of desire for victory. No matter who the opponent is, even if the hope of victory is slim, as long as the battle begins, you must do your best to pursue victory. This is respect for yourself, and respect for your opponent. Wutong said very seriously. Sorry, Senior Wutong, I understand. Please fight me again later. Xiao Yao looked like he had suddenly realized something, and said to Wutong seriously. Let me tell you the second thing. As a trainer, you don't need to ask for help in a Pokémon battle, because even a simple eye contact between Pokémon trainers will start a battle, which is called what are you looking at? Wutong patted Xiao Yao on the shoulder and said. After hearing Wutong's words, Xiao Yao looked as if he had suddenly realized something. It seems that this little fan really trusts Wutong's words 100%. Wait a minute. The 3 people who were watching finally couldn't stand it anymore, and Xiaoming pulled the 2 people apart to stop them. Xiao Yao, we know that this guy's your idol, but you can't believe everything he says. There is no such thing as what are you looking at? Xiaomei pressed Xiaoyao's shoulders and said seriously. Except for the knowledge related to fighting and training Pokémon, everything this bastard says can be ignored. Shinji grabbed Wutong's fate by the back of the neck and said to Xiaoyao. Shinji and the other two didn't want a good seedling to be led astray by Wutong. One creature like Xiaoxi who would go up to fight when he saw the trainer was enough. Is that so? Xiaoyao was frightened by the actions of the three people and then looked at Wutong for help. However, Wutong, who was grabbed by the back of the neck of fate, could only spread his hands like a little bear to show that he could not help. On this day, Xiaoyao got a better understanding of the idol he admired. After completing the guidance battle, several people entered the Odaki Institute. At this time, Dr. Odaki seemed to have finished his work and was chatting with Xiao Gang. You're back, Xiaoyao. How was it, Xiaoyao? How was the battle with Xiaotong? Dr. Odaki asked when he saw the few people who came back. Senior Wutong is very powerful and he takes Pokémon battles very seriously. Xiaoyao replied. Hahaha, really, that's good. Drive Odaki said happily. After formally greeting Dr. Odaki, Xiaomao, who was determined to become a Pokémon doctor who surpassed Dr. Oak, began to ask Dr. Odaki questions. Xiaoming on the side also seized the opportunity to absorb knowledge. For him, as long as it was about Pokémon, it would never be wrong to learn more. Shinji went to the nearby forest to train his Pokémon, and Xiaoyao followed him at Wutong's suggestion. After all, among the four people, Shinji's training method was most suitable for Xiaoyao. In addition to Xiaoyao's polite and steady temperament, Shinji should be able to get along well with Xiaoyao. I'm such a good person who cares about my best friends. Wutong patted his shoulder and thought to himself. And Xiao Gang also got news about Xiaoxi from Dr. Odaki. Has Xiaoxi left? Wutong asked. Well, Dr. Odaki said that he went to Gumui Town with a girl. It seems that something has happened to Pikachu. There is no Pokémon Center in Weebay Town, so we can only go to Gumui Town. Xiao Gang said a little worriedly. Gumui Town. I'm also interested in the Gumui ruins there. Let's go together. But it's a little late today. Let's set off early tomorrow morning. Wutong thought for a while and said. I don't know when. Looking for various ruins in the Pokémon world for exploration has also become Wutong's interest. And he has a feeling that the Gumui ruins may give him some surprises. Well, that's good. What about Xiaomeo and the others? Are you going to act together this time? Xiao Gang asked. It shouldn't be a surprise. After all, we all have our own cities we want to go to. Let's ask them later. Wutong said. Dinner time. Wutong and Xiao Gang after showing off. A long table was set up outside the Odaki Institute. Every time I see Wutong's Pokémon eating, I feel a sense of grandeur. Xiao Gang couldn't help but say as he looked at the two long tables on the Pokémon side and a group of Pokémon sitting in their seats waiting for dinner. Senior Wutong, why do you have to prepare tables specifically for them? Xiaoyao asked a little puzzled. What do you think the relationship between your Pokémon and you should be? Wutong asked back. Relationship should be a partner in battle, right? Xiaoyao said after thinking for a while. For me, my Pokémon are my family, and it must be more fun to sit together with my family when eating, right? Do your family members eat together at the table and on the ground? Wutong said with a smile. Xiaoyao looked at the two long tables thoughtfully. Because of Wutong's influence, Shinji and the other two were also used to eating at the same table with their Pokémon. The few people surrounded by a group of Pokémon did not feel uncomfortable, but looked very happy. Even the serious senior Shinji seemed to have a softer expression. On the other side, Dr. Adamaru looked very interested in the scene in front of him. After all, his research is about the ecology and living habits of Pokémon. And the situation in front of him is obviously a good research topic. Senior Wutong, I seem to understand a little bit. Xiaoyao said. Really? Then continue to understand. After all, only if you treat your Pokémon sincerely, Pokémon will respond to you in the same way. Sometimes idealism is terrible. Wutong said and joined the team of eating. Idealism? Xiaoyao said and looked at the water leaping fish at his feet. Gilu. The water leaping fish also tilted its head at Xiaoyao. After eating, the work of cleaning up was naturally handed over to the Pokémon to complete. Dr. Adamaru and his assistant Xiaoxia returned to the institute to continue their research. Xiaoyao said goodbye to a few people and went home. Wutong and the other four opened the night tea party as usual. But this time there was an extra guest at the night tea party, Xiao Gang. So, what are your plans? You're not going to follow me and eat and drink for free, are you? Wutong said jokingly. I'm going to stay in Weebay Town for a while. Dr. Adajuan has a lot for me to learn. Xiaomao said while drinking coffee. I want to go to Zijin City. I heard that the gym owner there likes to make machines, and there is also a person who is known as the king of machines. I think it will be very helpful to me. Xiaoming said after drinking the hot milk in one gulp. I'm going to Shujing City first. My team needs to be supplemented. Shinji, who is a strength party, held the teacup in both hands and said slowly, so you guys don't plan to go to Chenghua City first? The gym owner of Chenghua Gym there is very strong, and he can be called the next king. Wutong asked curiously. What about you? Which city do you plan to go to first? Shinji glanced at Wutong and asked back. I plan to go to Gumui Town, to explore the ruins of Gumui first, and then go to Wudao Town to visit Tengshu. After all, RC asked me to go and see how Tengshu is doing. Wutong said. You are the same? Xiaomao rolled his eyes and said. Yeah, don't you plan to see the strength of the next king first? Xiaoming followed. The four of them were silent for 2 seconds, then looked at each other and laughed at the same time. After all, the delicious food should be saved for last. X4 Wutong said at the same time. The strongest gym owner in the Hone area, Qian Li, who is known as the next king, such a powerful opponent must be saved for the last challenge. Otherwise, wouldn't the entire Hone area travel lose a lot of fun? Xiaogang on the side silently watched the conversation between the few people. Sure enough, the guys who can become good friends always have similarities. And the four guys in front of them are not just good friends. They are brothers and friends, but also each other's rivals. It can be said that each of them knows the remaining 3 people very well, and this kind of relationship is really a bit enviable. After deciding their respective destinations, the next day, several people set off separately. Xiaomao stayed in Weebay Town to study with Dr. Odama for a while. Wutong and Xiaogang started to move towards Gumui Town in the north. In order to save time, Shinji flew directly to the northeast on Pidgeot. His destination was Shujing City with a wild wilderness area nearby. Xiaoming took the stinging jellyfish and went east along the waterway. He planned to go to Kana City first, experience the beach scene in the Hone region, and then go to Zijin City to learn from Tixuan and the Machine King. Several people are moving towards different goals for their own goals. Chapter 468. On Route 101, Wutong and Xiaogang were heading towards Gumui Town. With Rotom, the mobile phone, they were able to navigate the way, so they were able to move very fast. They arrived near Gumui Town in the afternoon. Outside Gumui Town, the first thing that caught my eye was not the city houses, but the grottos surrounded by a circle of stone pillars. That looks like the Gumui ruins, Wutong said. It looks really spectacular, Xiaogang exclaimed. For rock-type Pokémon enthusiasts, this kind of stone ruins is also very attractive to him. As they talked, they walked towards the ruins. When they arrived near the Gumui ruins, Wutong and Xiaogang looked at the surrounding stone pillars with curiosity in their eyes. Are you also interested in ancient ruins? My name is Metz, and I'm here to study this ruins. A man in a khaki worksuit walked to Wutong and Xiaogang and greeted them. Hello, my name is Wutong. I'm really interested in ruins. This should be the ancient Rose ruins. I wonder if we can visit it? Wutong asked. Hello, my name is Xiaogang. I wonder if you have ever seen a person named Xiaozhi? Xiaogang also asked, and the first thing he asked was about Xiaozhi. Is this motherly love? Xiaozhi? Are you Xiaozhi's friends? They just left this morning, and it seems that they are going to Chenghua City. As for visiting the ruins, of course there is no problem. Metz said. Xiaogang, if you are in a hurry, go find Xiaozhi first. I want to visit the ancient Rose ruins before leaving. Wutong said considerately. I'm also interested in the ancient Rose ruins, and Xiaozhi should stay in Qinghua City for a few days, so I don't have to worry. Xiaogang said. Then come with me. The ancient Rose ruins are very interesting. You will definitely be fascinated by them, Metz said confidently. After Wutong and Xiaogang followed Metz into the ancient Rose ruins, a few guys dressed like pirate soldiers wearing blue and white striped clothes and blue headscarves were observing Wutong and his companions with telescopes behind a rock a little further away from the ancient Rose ruins. In the ancient Rose ruins, in a square stone chamber, the walls were engraved with murals of ancient humans and Pokémon. Fossil pterosaurs, ammonites, spiny ammonites, fossil helmets, sickle helmets, ancient feather insects, ancient armor, tentacle lilies, cradle lilies. All the fossil Pokémon from the Kanto region to the Hone region appeared on the murals. In the center of the stone chamber, there is a rectangular stone pillar, and on the side of the stone pillar facing the door are inlaid 4 round beads of different colors: red, blue, green, and yellow. Grotto, Kyogre, Rayquaza and Ash's Pikachu? Wutong muttered when he saw these 4 colors. Wait a minute, this is not right. Although Xiaogang on the side didn't know what the 3 Pokémon Wutong mentioned before were, he instinctively felt that something was wrong. Don't mind such details, Maze. Can we go into this entrance to the underground? Wutong asked. If it were someone else, it would be impossible, but you have no problem, Maze said. Wutong was a little curious after hearing what Maze said. Just knowing Ash should not be enough to reach this level, and there is no way to prove whether it is true that he knows Ash. In addition, Maze clearly said that you have no problem, but he is not the only one here. At first I just thought you looked familiar, but after you introduced yourself, I remembered that you are the trainer with the fossil pterosaur, right? Maze continued. That means I need to exchange the fossil pterosaur if I want to go down. Wutong teased. No, you who have the fossilized pterosaur should be able to understand the significance of the Pokémon below. Metz shook her head and said. After Metz finished speaking, he took Wutong and Xiaogang down the stairs and entered the underground of the stone chamber. After the 3 entered the underground, the pirates walked in at the door of the stone chamber. It seems that there should be something underground, Pirate A said. That's right, those idiots of the Magna team left without looking carefully, and the real treasure belongs to our water fleet, Pirate B said. These guys dressed as pirates are members of the water fleet, one of the 2 major evil forces in the Hone region. Get ready, just now there was only Metz and the little devils are going down. Just catch them, and don't let them make trouble, Water Fleet member C said. The other people nodded and called out their Pokémon. As one of the standard Pokémon of the Water Fleet, it is the Lobster Soldier series, and the 3 members of the Water Fleet called out all the Iron Claw lobsters, which means that these members of the Water Fleet can be regarded as the elite soldiers in the Water Fleet. After getting ready, several members of the Water Fleet rushed down directly. However, they were greeted by several ferocious Pokémon, and the stairs behind them were blocked by a pink fossil pterosaur after they came down. If you want to raid, you are still hesitating. Are you afraid that I can't hear it? Wutong said calmly, looking at the confused members of the Water Fleet in front of him. Speaking of which, Xiaotong hasn't brushed merits for a long time. I don't know if Xiaotong has the power to enforce the law in the Fingyuan region. It seems that I have to contact Adu to ask later, so as not to exceed my authority. Chapter 469. The 2 of them were so busy that they had to fight back. Several members of the Water Fleet wanted to struggle and resist, but Wutong's Pokémon opened fire and the 3 members of the Water Fleet were instantly suppressed. Wutong skillfully took out the rope, tied up the 3 members of the Water Fleet and the Iron Claw lobster, and then confiscated all the Pokéballs on them. How can Wutong be so skilled? Metz asked Xiaogang in surprise. Maybe he has done a lot of similar things, Xiaogang said. Calm garbing, keep an eye on them. I'll get someone to take them away later, Wutong said. The Green Onion soldier saluted Wutong, then held 2 green onion blades and stared at the 3 members of the Water Fleet and their Iron Claw lobsters. You guys should be honest, otherwise we will eat sashimi, steamed, blanched, garlic, and stir-fried in a typhoon shelter. After carefully observing the iron claw lobsters, the green onion soldier quacked at them. The 3 iron claw lobsters trembled immediately and looked at the green onion soldier with horror. What's wrong with this duck? How can it be more like a bad guy than them? The members of the water fleet who didn't understand what the green onion soldier was saying were confused. What happened? Why did their iron claw lobsters get scared like this? Mets and Xiaogang, who were watching the show next to them, were very curious. This feeling of eating melons without knowing why made the 2 of them very uncomfortable. And Wutong, the only human who knew what happened, was speechless. This duck is doomed. This is Wutong's only feeling. Don't worry about them, Mets. Let's continue the tour, okay? Fossil pterosaur, remember to calm down later. Wutong reminded the fossil pterosaur beside him. Roar. The fossil pterosaur nodded to show that he understood. The living fossil pterosaur is still shining, which really makes people want to study it carefully. Come on, the 2 Pokémon are in the water in front. Mets reluctantly took his eyes away from the fossil pterosaur and brought Wutong and Xiaogang to the pool. In the underground pool, the figures of the 2 Pokémon shuffled back and forth. The fossil pterosaur looked at the shadows in the water and couldn't help showing his fangs. Calm down, I don't let you starve normally. Wutong comforted the fossil pterosaur and said, the Pokémon in the water is the same era as the fossil pterosaur, or even earlier than the ancient coelacanth. The cruising figure kept provoking the instinct of the fossil pterosaur as an ancient predator, which is something that the current Pokémon cannot do. However, the fossil pterosaur has been subdued by Wutong for a long time and has long lost its habit of hunting. All its hunting ability has been transferred to combat ability. So after seeing the ancient coelacanth, he lost interest after just a few more glances. What are these 2 Pokémon? Xiaogang asked curiously. The ancient coelacanth, a Pokémon that existed 100 million years ago, can be said to be a living fossil of Pokémon. Wutong answered Xiaogang's question calmly. After all, he already knew what was here, so he was not shocked after seeing the ancient coelacanth. It seems that Wutong, you have a lot of knowledge about Pokémon. Yes, this is the ancient coelacanth. Although it is not possible to determine whether they have lived for 100 million years, it is certain that their appearance has not changed much from the same kind 100 million years ago. Mets said excitedly. Pokémon from 100 million years ago. This is really amazing. Xiaogang couldn't help but say. And the ancient coelacanth is a Pokémon of both water and rock types. You should be able to understand this if you like rocks. Wutong said to Xiaogang. Rock type. It does look like it has some rock characteristics. As expected, Pokémon are really magical. Xiaogang said excitedly. In fact, I still haven't figured out why 2 ancient coelacanths were specially raised under the ancient rose ruins. If it was for future generations to see the ancient coelacanths, there would be no need to protect them so strictly. Mets said. It seems that he also intends to ask Wutong to help think about whether there are any puzzles in this ruins. Mets, you seem to trust me very much. Wutong asked doubtfully. After all, you are the owner of the fossil pterosaur, and you have won the championship of 2 conferences. More importantly, you are the grandson of Mr. Aquan and Ms. Xingzi. I believe in your knowledge reserve. Mets said without hiding anything. Yes, well, since you mentioned Grandpa and Grandma, I have to work hard. If you don't mind, can I check the surrounding situation? Wutong asked. Of course, no problem. Mets said. Xiaogang knew that he could not help much, so he just admired the ancient coelacanth. Wutong began to move along the wall. In fact, Wutong himself felt that the ancient rose ruins could not be that simple. After all, the entire ancient rose ruins looked very huge from the outside, but neither the stone chamber nor the underground cave was as big as imagined. That is to say, there should be a hidden area in this ruins. Wutong stroked the uneven wall with his hand, trying to find some mechanism. When he walked to a certain wall, Wutong felt a burning sensation in his palm. This feeling is. The long-lost feeling made Wutong look at his palm. The 4 strange-shaped unknown totems that were staying in his palm and had been in a dormant state were emitting a faint blue light. But only Wutong could see this light. The unknown totem reacts here. Is there something hidden behind it? Wutong couldn't help but carefully feel around the wall. but he didn't find anything that looked like a mechanism. Is it the wrong method? Wutong thought so, and a blue light appeared in his eyes, and his superpowers were activated. A strange pattern appeared on the wall in front of him. It was composed of several circles and squares, and it didn't look like words. Wutong always felt that this pattern had some impression. He should have seen it by chance before he was reborn, and it must be related to Pokémon. Wutong frowned and tried to search the memory in his mind. Finally, in an inconspicuous corner among a large number of memories about Pokémon, Wutong found the memory he needed. The footprints of Regigigas? Why hide its footprints here, and how can it be activated? Wutong muttered to himself. Suddenly, Wutong remembered 4 beads of different colors. Mets, can those 4 beads be taken down now? Wutong shouted to Mets in the distance. I'll try. Mets responded. After a while, Mets walked to Wutong with 4 beads. The entrance was not closed, and it seemed that the 4 beads could be removed after the door was opened. Wutong continued to maintain his superpowers, and put the 4 beads in his hand on the ball of Regigigas footprints. Mets, who could not see Regigigas footprints on the other side, could only see Wutong holding the beads, and pressing them against the wall inexplicably. Then the beads magically sank half into the wall. This made Mets excited. Sure enough, it was right to ask Wutong for help. Wutong placed the 4 beads. The back wall did not react, but this was within Wutong's expectations. After all, he did not know what the specific order should be. Seeing that nothing special happened, after pressing the wrong button, the nervous Wutong relaxed a little, and it seemed that he could try again. After trying to change the position of the beads, Wutong was lucky enough to find the correct order before more than 10 times. 4 beads emitted light, and the energy automatically outlined the pattern of Regigigas' footprints. Then the wall, which had no gaps at all, retreated, and a new passage appeared. Sure enough, there are other areas. Great. Wutong, let's go in and take a look. Mets said excitedly. Xiaogang, do you want to go with me? Wutong asked Xiaogang, who had been a new ancient coelacanth. No, I'll stay here to watch these bad guys and ancient coelacanths. Xiaogang said. Wutong did not force it, and followed Mets into the passage. At the end of the passage was a new stone chamber, but the area of this stone chamber was not very large. In the number 2 stone chamber, there were no murals on the walls, only a huge map on one wall, and the appearance of the map was somewhat similar to the current Fingyuan region. In the center of the stone chamber, there were 3 stone platforms, each of which had an item placed on it. A metallic ball, an ice block shaped like a mountain, and a gray and orange rock. It's amazing. Is this the secret hidden in the ancient Rose ruins? This map seems to be a Fingyuan map from a long time ago. What are these iron balls, ice blocks and stones? What is the meaning? Mets said excitedly. The map of the Fingyuan region in the past? Map? Question mark? Mets, wait a minute. Wutong seemed to have thought of something, and ran out of the number 2 stone chamber. After a while, Wutong led Swampert ran back, and behind him was Xiaogang, who looked anxious. Wutong's other Pokémon were sent to guard the members of the water fleet. The reason for Xiaogang's anxiety was simple. Swampert held an ancient coelacanth in each of his hands. Wutong, what are you doing? Mets asked curiously. Mets, you should know what the stripes on the ancient coelacanth look like, right? Wutong asked back. Of course, the stripes on the ancient coelacanth are the same as the map. Wait a minute, you mean? Mets also thought of something and said expectantly. That's right, although the stripes on the ancient coelacanth will not be very different, just like there are no 2 identical leaves in the world, the stripes on the ancient coelacanth will eventually be a little different. And why do these 2 ancient coelacanths have to stay here? Wutong said with a smile on his face. After that, Wutong directed Swampert to stick the 2 ancient coelacanths on the map. The 2 ancient coelacanths seemed to have gotten used to it, and did not resist at all. By overlapping the positions of the red dots on the 2 ancient coelacanths, and adjusting their positions, the pattern formed by the stripes on the 2 ancient coelacanths successfully matched the map of the old Hone region. Yes, it is indeed like this. Great. Really great. Mets said excitedly, after making a great discovery. If nothing unexpected happens, the location of this red dot is what the ancient Rose ruins want to leave behind. Wutong said as he pointed his hand on the map. Xiaogang on the side had already gotten used to it. The gap was too big. Wutong was really too professional. He wanted to see Xiaozhi more and more. As expected, Xiaozhi was his good partner. Chapter 470. The new discovery was made, and the old map was revealed. With the new discovery, Mets excitedly compared the old and new maps of the home region. In the end, Mets concluded that the red dot was located on the current Waterway 134 in the home region. Waterway 134. Is there a hidden relic there? This is really a great discovery. Mets became more and more excited. Wutong lost interest after learning that the red dot was located on Waterway 134, because this information was not a secret to him. The Notice Stone Chamber is hidden in Waterway 134, and if nothing unexpected happens, Devon Company has found the location of the Notice Stone Chamber. It's just that, because of the location of the Notice Stone Chamber, there is no way to enter it. Since the Notice Stone Chamber has been linked, and the 3 items placed in the second stone chamber, Wutong is very sure that the ancient rose ruins are related to the 3 pillars. But what are the functions of the 3 items placed there? Legend has it that Regichicus used rocks, icebergs and lava to create Richalock, Regius and Regichalo in his own shape. Could the 3 things placed here now be the materials left after Regichicus made the 3 pillars? Unfortunately, these 3 things were not discovered by himself privately, so there is no way to take them away for a search. Waterway 134. Waterway 134. Speaking of which, Devon Company seems to be carrying out some development activities in that area. Could it be that they have known about it for a long time? By the way, Wutong, can I ask you for another favor? Mets asked Wutong. Tell me what it is first. Wutong asked vigilantly. Recently, he always has a bad premonition, feeling that someone always wants to trick him into working. I hope you can help me deliver these 3 items to Dago. I still need to continue to study the ruins here, and it is difficult for ordinary trainers to find Dago, so. Mets said embarrassedly. Wutong helped him solve the puzzle of the ancient rose ruins, and now he has to help run errands. Mets is a little embarrassed. Run errands? But I don't know where Dago is, and I'm going to challenge the gym to participate in the KIR conference. It's impossible to keep looking for Dago outside. Wutong tried to bargain. In this case, it's okay to send them to Devon Company. I will write you a letter of introduction. Of course, it would be best if they can be handed over to Dago directly. Mets said. Okay, I know. There is a gym in Kansas City, where Devon Company is located anyway. Wutong happily took over the errand work. It seems that the itinerary will be slightly disrupted, but it is not impossible to go to Wudao Town from Kansas City. Anyway, Kansas City also has a port. But how do I put them away? Wouldn't it be too dangerous to put them directly in the bag? Mets said with a bit of difficulty. Leave it to me. I'm a professional at running errands. Wutong said and snapped his fingers. Wutong's shadow instantly spread out and climbed directly onto the stone platform. After swallowing all 3 items, the shadow returned to its original state. This is? Mets was a little surprised. It's just a trick of ghost type Pokémon, but not all ghost type Pokémon can do it. Wutong said calmly. Really? That's really reassuring. I'll leave it to you then. Mets said seriously. I will deliver them safely to Dago. Without further ado, let's leave first. Xiaogang, let's go. Wutong said to Xiaogang. What about those bad guys outside? Xiaogang asked. At this time, he didn't know about the water fleet. Oh, I almost forgot about them. Leave them to me. Wutong said with a warm, greedy smile. Chapter 471. The 2 of them were in a quiet area outside the ancient rose ruins. In a secluded area outside the ancient rose ruins, Wutong looked at the 3 members of the water fleet in front of him and took out his Pokémon Search Officer communicator. If it was in the Kanto region or the Johto region, Wutong might have to hide for a while. After all, it was completely controlled by the Rocket Team and full of Rocket Team spies. There are even Rocket Team's undercovers in the Alliance, so even in front of the captured Rocket Team members, Wutong has never revealed his true identity. But it's different in the Hone region. First of all, the Rocket Team's power has not reached out here, and the only vanguard is the Rocket Team trio. In addition, the Hone region is different from other regions, where one organization dominates the market. Here, the Aqua Fleet and the Magma Team compete against each other, and both sides have spent most of their energy to restrict each other's development. The control over the Hone region is far inferior to that of other organizations, and in terms of the strength of the cadres, it is not that Wutong looks down on the Aqua Fleet and the Magma Team. Whether it is the 3S of the Aqua Fleet or the 3 Fires of the Magma Team, they are really not as good as the 3 Beast Warriors and 4 Generals of the Rocket Team in terms of pure strength. Now he can hold out for a while in front of the 4 Generals of the Rocket Team and then retreat unscathed, and it is impossible for him to be afraid of the cadres of the Aqua Fleet and the Magma Team. Unless Aqua Wutong and Kai Yansan come to trouble him personally, he doesn't need to be afraid at all. Hey, what's wrong? The communicator was quickly connected, and Adu's voice appeared in the noisy ambient sound. I have a problem here, and I need to ask you a question, Wutong said. Wait a minute, Dragonite Dragon's Fury. Adu interrupted Wutong and said. Then there was an explosion from the communicator. Okay, now everything is fine. Tell me what you want to ask. Adu asked. I just arrived in the Hone region, and met you here. Hey, which organization are you from? Wutong asked deliberately. The necessary drama still needs to be performed. Asshole, let us go quickly. We are from the Water Fleet. One of the members of the Water Fleet shouted very cooperatively. I met the guys from the Water Fleet who wanted to make trouble, and then I tied them up. I want to know if I'm overstepping my authority to enforce the law now. After all, the Hone region should not be our territory. Wutong continued to ask. Xianatong, do you still remember what your identity is? Adu asked earnestly from the other side. I know, I'm a junior Pokémon investigator, a job that eats public grain. Wutong replied. Then why are you talking like a bandit? What do you mean it's not our territory? Theoretically, there is no cross-regional law enforcement by Pokémon investigators. After all, investigators are all managed by the Alliance. The division of different regions is just for the convenience of management and welfare distribution. In fact, each region is short of manpower. They should be very happy that you can help. Adu said helplessly. Oh, that's easy. That means I can still enforce justice when necessary, right? Wutong said happily. It seems that Xianatong doesn't need to be banned. Yes, by the way, the Alliance is preparing to promote a group of Pokémon intermediate investigators recently. I have submitted your name, and it will definitely be approved. You should be prepared. Adu said. So, what do you need me to do? Wutong said vigilantly. This is the smell of working. As an intermediate investigator, you can already form your own team. You can choose from the trainee investigators, or find suitable team members yourself, but if you find them yourself, it will not work if you can't pass the assessment. Oh, by the way, you can be given a special quota for the primary investigator. Adu said. So you need me to trick some capable guys into working for you illegally, right? Wutong said after a moment of silence. Watch your words. What does it mean to work illegally? We are fighting for a just cause. The team has a maximum of 5 people, including you. Think about it. By the way, Xiaozhi is still a junior investigator. Okay, I'm still fighting here, so I won't talk anymore. Adu said and hung up the phone. Wutong looked at the hung up communicator with a dark face. Damn, I was cheated again. This time, I not only have to work illegally, but also work as hours. But Adu specifically mentioned Xiaozhi. It seems that he wants me to pull Xiaozhi into the team. Oh, it's really troublesome. Wutong said and contacted Xiaozhi again. After Xiaozhi explained her idea, Xiaozhi agreed happily. According to her, it was her honor to work under the master. That's one person, but where can we find the remaining 3 people? Wutong had a headache again. It was impossible to pull Shinji and the others in. After all, they all had their own goals and ideals, and at most they could be temporary workers occasionally. Dream Demon, let them sleep. Wutong glanced at the members of the Water Fleet who were still shouting and said. The Dream Demon flew out, hypnosis was activated, and the members of the Water Fleet fell asleep directly. Then Wutong applied for arrest support through the special contact number between Pokémon investigators. During this period, Wutong completed the disguise for the first time in a long time and put black bags on the members of the water fleet to ensure that they had no ability to escape. The support came quickly, and several Pokémon investigators belonging to the Hone Regional Alliance took away all the members of the water fleet and their Pokémon. At the same time, they also expressed their gratitude to Wutong in Xiaoxia mode. Wutong said it was okay, there would be plenty of opportunities for cooperation in the future. Oh, it's really troublesome. I should let Xiaoming try to develop the next transformation thing, otherwise it would be troublesome to change clothes every time. After sending his colleagues away, Wutong muttered and changed back to his original appearance. After a while, the sky was slightly dark, and it seemed that we would have to camp in the forest today. After returning to the ancient Rose ruins and taking Xiaogang back, the two continued their journey. Nothing special happened on the road this time, and there was no trouble of getting lost. Wutong and Xiaogang entered the Chenghua forest when the moon just climbed up to the sky to punch in for work. They found a suitable place to camp in the Chenghua forest, and the night passed like this. Transition animation in the orange forest. Xiaozhi and his new companions Xiaoyao and Xiaosheng are heading towards Canis City. Xiaosheng, who is traveling for the first time, is naturally excited. He keeps looking around with a telescope, looking for traces of Pokémon. Why can't I see any Pokémon? Xiaosheng said strangely. Xiaoyao, who is walking beside Xiaozhi, looks listless. I'm so hungry, let's have lunch, Xiaoyao said pitifully to Xiaozhi. It seems that there are no Pokémon here. Xiaosheng also looked at Xiaozhi with disappointment and said, Pokémon can't be seen all the time, and in any place. Xiaozhi, who was caught in the middle, answered Xiaosheng's question first. But there should be a lot of Pokémon in the orange forest. It's too strange that there is nothing now. Xiaosheng was obviously not satisfied with Xiaozhi's answer. Let's have lunch first. Xiaoyao, who was hungry, grabbed Xiaozhi's arm and said, let's go back to find Pokémon. Xiaosheng grabbed Xiaozhi's other arm. Xiaoyao and Xiaosheng started the tug-of-war game with Xiaozhi as the rope. Okay, Pika, let's have lunch here, and then decide how to go. Xiaozhi and Pikachu said, after using Roar together. On the other side, Wutong and Xiaogang, who had rested for a night, came to a small river. This location is good, let's rest here at noon. Wutong looked around and said with satisfaction, in this case, let's have rice bowls at noon. Xiaogang thought for a while and said, how can it be? If you have time, you must not be sloppy about food. Whether it is a trainer or a Pokémon, you must ensure a high quality diet every day. Wutong said seriously with his hands folded in front of his chest. Okay. Xiaogang was startled by Wutong. He vaguely saw Wutong's figure become taller, and the words God of Food seemed to appear behind him. The scene returned to Xiaozhi and the other two. The three found a few stones of suitable height and sat together. After sitting down, the three of them waited with a smile, but after a strange silence, Xiaozhi and the other two found something wrong. Xiaozhi, where is lunch? Xiaoyao asked first. Xiaosheng, didn't you bring it? Xiaozhi turned his head and looked at Xiaosheng. I always thought it was my sister who brought it. Xiaosheng returned the pot to Xiaoyao and said, could it be that no one prepared lunch? X3 Xiaozhi and the other two discovered this terrible fact. Pikachu, who was also hungry, took out his own food jar from Xiaozhi's bag and happily prepared to eat. However, after opening the can, the empty look inside made Pikachu scream. I thought Xiaozhi, who has been traveling, would prepare it. Xiaoyao said disappointedly. Yes. Xiaosheng followed up. But, forget it, let's not say it, it will only make me hungrier. Xiaozhi wanted to say something, but stopped after thinking about it. If nothing unexpected happened, he should have remembered Xiaogang. Xiaogang, who was helping Wutong by the river, seemed to feel something. Xiaotong, did you hear Pikachu's cry? Xiaogang asked. As a chef, how can you not concentrate when cooking? How can you participate in the chef competition and become the world's god of food? Wutong, holding a frying pan, said to Xiaogang with a serious face. Yes, I know, Chef Wutong. Xiaogang, who was startled, responded subconsciously. However, Xiaogang quickly reacted. Who wants to be the world's god of food? Question mark? Chapter 472. The weather was very hot, but the weather was very hot. Beside a small river in the orange forest, the top chef Wutong and his assistant Xiaogang were practicing hard to participate in the Kitchen God contest and win the title of Kitchen God. Remember, a dish should pay attention to color, fragrance, taste, meaning, shape, and nourishment. Chef Wutong was explaining to his assistant Xiaogang, but was interrupted halfway through. A rumble sounded, and in the forest not far away, a conspicuous flash of lightning burst out. Wutong and Xiaogang looked over at the same time. That flash of lightning. It seems to be Xiaoxi's Pikachu. Xiaogang, who had traveled with Xiaoxi for a long time, recognized it at a glance and said, "It seems that Xiaoxi and his friends are in trouble. Let's go, Xiaogang. Let's go and take a look." Wutong decisively turned off the fire and said, "Well, let's go." Xiaogang nodded and ran in the direction of the lightning. Speaking of which, there should be 3 thieves coming. Platypus and Onion Ranger, please let you to look after the house. Wutong threw out 2 Pokeballs and ran with Xiaogang. In the orange forest, in the territory of the Swiftlet group, Xiaoxi and his 3 companions were confronting the Swiftlet group. Xiaoxi, who had just started a new journey, was accompanied by only one Pokémon, Pikachu. However, Pikachu had its own buffs for changing areas and hunger buffs, and was knocked to the ground by the Swiftlet. The leading Swiftlet, with traces of chocolate on its mouth, led its own tribe to pursue the victory, and a group of Swiftlets rushed towards Pikachu and Xiaoxi. Fossil Pterosaur, hero appears, God Bird Smash. A voice appeared. Roar. With a roar, a Pokémon covered in orange light fell from the sky, circled around Pikachu and Xiaoxi, and repelled all the ogres. Pink Fossil Pterosaur. Xiaosheng shouted excitedly after seeing the Pokémon that suddenly appeared. Could it be Xiaotong and Xiaogang? Xiaoxi found the 2 people he wanted to see. Hey, Xiaoxi, why are you so late after not seeing you for a long time? Wutong waved his hand and said, "This is not a place to reminisce about the past. Let's leave first." Xiaogang said after looking at the situation nearby. He took Xiaoxi and the others back to the river. As expected, the 3 familiar guys were tied up tightly and thrown aside. Judging from the method, it should be from Kang Yubing. After all, this guy learned how to tie crabs and zangzi when he was helping Wutong in the kitchen. Not bad, Onion Soldier, your technique is getting more and more skilled. Wait, who taught you this way of tying up? Wutong looked at the 3 members of Team Rocket who were not unconscious but very quiet, and soon found something wrong. How did this duck learn some strange skills again? It really perfectly tied up Musashi's advantages, which is already forbidden for minors to watch. Kajiro turned his head to one side, as if to avoid seeing something, while Musashi lowered his head and vaguely saw the tip of his earhead. Although Meow Meow didn't quite understand, its cat instinct told it that it was best to keep silent at this time. Ah. Team Rocket guys. Xiaoxi also saw the 3 members of Team Rocket who were tied up and wanted to run over. Ditto. Wutong touched the Pokeball on his waist. Maodato appeared, stretched his body, and directly turned into a soft wall. Onion Soldier, let them go. Wutong said helplessly, covering his forehead. The Onion Soldier casually pulled out an onion blade, 3 flashes of white light, and all 3 members of Team Rocket were released. Dead duck. Come to fight. The released Musashi instantly exploded. Sure enough, Musashi was not shy but blushing. How could a tough guy who could fight Pokémon head-on, when angry, be so easily shy? Gap. The Onion Soldier disdainfully pulled out a green onion. The weak were not worthy of it pulling the green onion. Arsehole. How dare you look down on me? Musashi roared and wanted to pounce on the Onion Soldier and give him a crazy grab. Calm down, Musashi. Kajiro hooked Musashi's shoulders from behind to stop her from rushing forward. Yes, Brother Wutong is back. Meow Meow also pulled one of Musashi's legs and comforted Musashi at the same time. Alas, I have deliberately left my Pokémon behind just to make you retreat. Are you so brave? Or have you forgotten something, because you haven't seen me for too long? Wutong said to the irritable Musashi said to Kajiro and Meow Meow who were trying to stop him. We are just too hungry. Kajiro made an excuse. Yeah, meow. We are just too hungry. Meow meow also echoed. Let me go. I must make that dead duck look good. Musashi was still in a violent state. Well, okay, Platypus, pack up the prepared food for them. Wutong scratched his head and said to Platypus. Buban the obedient Platypus packed up the prepared and semi-finished food and then gave it to Musashi, who was still running wild. Thank you, thank you. Musashi was stunned by the Platypus that suddenly blocked him, and he took the packed food and said subconsciously. As expected of Musashi, he was irritable but polite. Platypus, send them off. Wutong continued. Buban Platypus waved at the rocket trio, and then a big word of explosion was released. What a disgusting feeling. X3 the rocket trio, who were still happy about getting food in the last second, turned into meteors in the sky and disappeared in the air in the next second. Xiaotong, what's going on? Xiaozhi, who was released by Ditto, asked with a puzzled look. Oh, it's nothing serious. It's just that the food that Xiaogang and I just made was ruined by the rocket team, so I sent them off. Wutong said calmly. What? Xiaoyao couldn't help but screamed after hearing the bad news. Damn rocket team. They actually gave the food we worked so hard to make to Xiaogang also clenched his fists and said angrily after hearing it. Before getting angry, should we introduce ourselves? Wutong said indifferently. Anyway, his reserve supplies were extremely rich, and he took the initiative to give the rockets those foods. In addition, with the rockets' character, they would never waste food, so Wutong was not angry. Oh, right. Xiaogang and Xiaotong, why are you here? Xiaogang, didn't you go home? Xiaozhi asked. Yes, I went home, but I couldn't calm down. Xiaotong and the others also came to travel to the home region, so I came with them to find you. Xiaogang said. So we can travel together again. Xiaozhi said happily. Yes, take care of me. Xiaogang said and shook hands with Xiaozhi. I'm the one who needs your help. Xiaozhi responded. Pikachu, you too, take care of me again. Xiaogang squatted down and said to Pikachu. Pika Pika. Pikachu raised a little paw and shouted happily. Are you injured? Just spray this. Xiaogang said and took out the healing spray and sprayed it on Pikachu's scratched arm. Pikachu. The stimulation of the healing spray made Pikachu scream, and then he blew his arm quickly. I plan to dominate the conference in all regions, so I came to travel to the home region. It's not just me. Xiaomao, Xiaoming and Shinji are also here, but they went to other cities first and didn't stay with us. Wutong said. Is Xiaomao here too? But I will definitely beat him this time. Xiaozhi decisively grasped the key point and said excitedly. So, don't you introduce the two behind you? Wutong asked. These two are Xiaoyao and her brother Xiaosheng, who are traveling together. These two Xiaogang and Wutong, one is preparing to become the world's #1 Pokémon breeder, and the other is my rival. Xiaozhi introduced the two parties separately. Take care of me. Xiaoyao responded. Please take care of me, Pokémon breeder, and, Xiaosheng said, and looked at Wutong. I'm still learning. Take care of me. Xiaogang said modestly. Strong rival? Then you have to work harder, Xiaozhi. Wutong put his arm around Xiaozhi's shoulders and said with a smile. I'm getting stronger all the time. Xiaozhi said confidently. By the way, Xiaogang used to be the leader of a Pokémon gym. He was very powerful. Xiaozhi said as he remembered something. The leader of a gym. Xiaosheng suddenly became interested. Hey. Just like our dad. Xiaoyao followed. Then you two must want to be gym leaders too. Xiaogang asked. I haven't thought about it yet. Xiaoyao said. I don't have a Pokémon yet. Xiaosheng said a little depressed. My brother is the same. Although he doesn't have a Pokémon yet, he is determined to become a gym leader, so you can do it too. Xiaogang showed his brotherly side and said to Xiaosheng. My previous Pokémon are all in the gym. I only brought one Pokémon, Fortis. Gon turned to Xiaozhi and said, it seems that Gon is ready to join the logistics team completely. Oh, is that so? Xiaozhi replied. Well, I heard that you are good at cooking. I'm so hungry now. Xiaoyao's hunger buff broke out again, and she said to Gon embarrassedly. Wutong, you are the double champion of the Quartz Conference and the Silver Conference. I have watched every game of yours. It is really amazing. Xiaoxia finally found the opportunity, ran to Wutong, and said excitedly with his fists clenched. Okay, let's have lunch then. Xiaoxia said happily, after entering the role. Oh, it's really embarrassing. I'm not that good, Wutong said in the state of Xiaoxia, scratching his head, without any embarrassment on his face. I'm also very strong. Next time I will definitely defeat Xiaoxia and the others. Xiaoxi said unwillingly. Hey, but you didn't even make it to the semi-finals. Xiaoxia said with a fatal sentence. Okay, let's have lunch first. Wutong said to Xiaoxi to smooth things over. But, didn't the food get ruined by Team Rocket? Xiaoxia said with a fatal sentence again. Yeah, what should we do? Xiaoxia also remembered it, and the whole person exuded a lost aura. It will take a long time to cook now, and if the food is ruined, Xiaogang and Xiaotong, do you still have any stock? Xiaoxi, who was also hungry, asked sadly. Don't worry, Xiaotong's cooking skills are much better than mine, and we both have a lot of stock. Xiaogang said with a thumbs up. Really? X3 Xiaoxi and the other two asked excitedly. Yes, Xiaotong's cooking is also very good. It seems that we will have a good time today. Xiaoxi also said happily, when he remembered the time, when he had a meal with Wutong. It seems that we have to go all out today. Although I didn't bring all the Pokémon with me, these few are enough. Everyone come out. Wutong said as he looked at the three guys with shining eyes. Michiwa, Yoibuai Mili, Yeah, Yao and Eevee were all released by Wutong. The slight exercise before the meal helps the little guys absorb better. Wow. Seeing the four little guys being released, Xiaoxia shouted excitedly with his eyes shining. Then Xiaoxia, I'll ask you to play with these little guys for a while. Oh, by the way, Mealy is shy, so you must be careful. Wutong reminded. I know. Xiaoxia nodded in response. When Mealy saw so many strangers, he shrank into a big pink marshmallow. The energetic Yaya started playing with Xiaoxia. Yao didn't seem to be interested in Xiaoxia, and stuck to Wutong. Ibrahimovic yawned, found a comfortable position next to Liang, and began to take a nap. Then Xiaogang, I'll ask you to help me. Wutong took out a pure black apron from somewhere, and tied it in front of him. Leave it to me, Chef Wutong. Xiaogang responded. It seems that he has not fully awakened from Wutong's deception. Then first, the fossil pterosaur, rock collapse, and then attack with wings. Wutong directed the fossil pterosaur on the side. Huh? What is this for? Xiaoyao asked curiously. I don't know either. Xiaoxi said he didn't understand either. The wings of the fossil pterosaur vibrated, and a huge stone fell down, and then the wings were covered with white light, and cut the stone back and forth. Under the intentional manipulation of the fossil pterosaur, the stone was divided into 4 small circular piles, and fell in front of Wutong. Oh, by the way, Pikachu, here, it's just my special electric Pokémon snacks. You can fill your stomach first. Wutong took out a small can of snacks with a lightning mark, and handed it to Pikachu. Pikachu took it happily. Then next Wutong snapped his fingers, and the shadow under his feet spread, and covered the 4 stone piles, and 4 different pots appeared. At the same time, a table also floated up from the shadow, and there were many ingredients on the table. Kang Yubbing, Xiaogang, help me prepare the ingredients. Wutong said. Kang Yubbing took out his special kitchen knife, scallion, from Wutong's bag. I know. Xiaogang also put on his apron and got ready. Ditto, Blastoise mode. Wash the ingredients in the pot first. Wutong said to Ditto again. Ditto changed magically, Blastoise appeared, and several streams of water shot out, washing the ingredients in the pot. Leo banged the kitchen staff. Kang Yubbing and Xiaogang processed the ingredients very quickly, and prepared a large amount of ingredients soon. Plazan, start the fire. Wutong said to Plazan with a spatula in his left hand and a frying pan in his right hand. Buban. Plazan stood in front of the 4 pots, raised 2 barrel arms, and 2 fire pillars shot out. The fire pillars continued to split into 4 parts, burning the 4 pots at the same time. Of course, Plazan controlled the temperature well. Ditto. Add water to the first soup pot on the left. Add water to the second steamer on the left. Add oil to the first frying pan on the right. And add oil to the second wok on the right. Kang yubbing. Put the ingredients for the stew in the first soup pot on the left. And put the fish on the steamer after processing. Xiao gang. Hand the ingredients to me. Plazan. Control the fire. High heat on the left. Medium heat on the right. Wutong commanded at high speed. At this time, Wutong's advantage as a trainer was fully utilized. But, so awesome Xiaoxia couldn't help but say when she saw Wutong's operation. Chef, god of cooking. Xiaoxi seemed to see a dragon rising into the sky behind Wutong, and couldn't help but say, if you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473. The weather was very good, but the weather was very good. Beside a small river somewhere in the orange forest, the aroma of food filled the air. Xiaoxi and Xiaoxia looked at the Wutong on display with saliva on their lips. Unlike Xiaoxi and Xiaoxia who were enduring hunger, Pikachu was happily eating the snacks given by Wutong. At this time, a very obvious sound of flapping wings appeared. Pikachu put down the snacks in his hand, jumped onto the rock beside him, and shouted in the direction of the sound. Arrogant Swallow, who still hadn't wiped his mouth, appeared and stood on a stone opposite Pikachu, and the two Pokémon just confronted each other. Xiaoxi, that should be your guest, go and deal with it, Wutong said without turning his head. I know. This ogre is here to fight Pikachu. Xiaoxi's fighting spirit offset the hunger buff, and he stood behind Pikachu and said. Xiaoxia and Xiaosheng also acted as spectators and stood aside. Mealy quietly poked his head out and watched the battle that was about to begin. Eevee also opened his eyes lazily, took a look, twisted his body, and continued to rest on Mealy. Ye stood beside Xiaosheng and jumped excitedly. It liked lively things. There was a battle to watch, which also attracted Yao, but it still did not leave Wutong and just watched from a distance. Under Xiaoxi's command, the battle between Pikachu and Ogre began. I just don't know what Xiaoxi thought, choosing to let Pikachu fight on the river. Although the stream was not deep and there were many protruding rocks on it, it still affected Pikachu's movements. Fortunately, Pikachu had eaten the snacks given by Wutong, and was no longer affected by the hunger buff. Even though the venue was unfavorable, he fought back and forth with the Swift. It must be said that the Swift's belief was surprisingly strong. After eating several 100,000 volts and thunders from Pikachu, it still refused to admit defeat, and continued to fight with Pikachu. This unyielding spirit made Wutong a little moved, but unfortunately, it was not easy to find a shining Swift with the same personality. However, it might be recommended that Shinji and Xiaoming also come here to catch a Swift. After all, the Swifts in that Swift group are worthy of the word proud. And this personality is also in line with their Spartan training methods. This won't work, Xiaoxi. If you want to end this game, you have to capture that swallow. Xiaogang was also paying attention to Xiaoxi's situation, and shouted after seeing Swallow who refused to admit defeat. Capture, I know. Go. Pokeball. Xiaoxi decisively took out an empty Pokeball and threw it at Swallow. I don't know whether it was because of the serious injury and unable to break free, or because it recognized Xiaoxi in the battle with Pikachu. Swallow was successfully captured without much struggle. Saba. Swallow, who was released again, stood on a stone, panting with sweat all over his head and body. The injuries that had been endured were all returned to Swallow the moment Swallow relaxed. This Swallow seems to be in pain, Xiaosheng said worriedly. You are too messy, Xiaoxi said standing next to Swallow. Pikachu also shouted in agreement. Wudito, who was temporarily out of work, came to the group and stretched out his body to give Xiaoxi a bottle of good medicine. Thank you, Ditto. Xiaoxi took the good medicine from Ditto and sprayed it on Wugu Yan. Wugu Yan screamed from the stimulation of the good medicine. It will be fine after it rests for a while. The meal is almost ready. Come and help set the table, Wutong shouted. Okay. X3 Xiaoxi and the others responded obediently like good babies. 2 long tables had been taken out and were soon filled with food. Everyone and the Pokémon finally started lunch. It's so delicious. Wutong and Xiaogang's cooking skills are great. Xiaoyao couldn't help but shed tears of emotion. I'm just helping out. It's Xiaotang who's awesome. Xiaogang said modestly. Wutong, you're going to travel with us too. Xiaosheng looked at Wutong expectantly and asked. Xiaotang, come travel with us. Xiaoxi also invited. No, I'm more used to traveling alone. Wutong immediately declined. Although it's nice to follow the protagonist through the story, I still want to be more free. Is that so? What a pity. Xiaoyao said regretfully. But I will travel with you for a few days before leaving. Wutong said with a smile. After all, there will be a merit to be earned soon. Great. X3 Xiaoxi and the other 2 said very happily. Pikachu also seemed very happy. Oh, by the way, after dinner, I'll leave the dishes to you. Wutong said again. Okay. X3 Xiaoxi and the other 2's voices were obviously weaker. Xiaogang on the side just looked at the scene in front of him with a smile. The destination is Kansas City. Xiaoxi and his group continue their journey. Now they are fighting with the trainers they met in the forest. Wutong, what are you doing? Xiaosheng asked puzzledly as he looked at Wutong who was holding a small notebook and taking notes beside him. Oh, don't mind. I haven't done this for a long time. I'm a little addicted. Wutong put away the small notebook and said. Ah. Xiaosheng was even more confused. Just think of it as a quirk of a powerful trainer. You'll get used to it. Xiaogang said to Xiaosheng. Beedrill. Double needle attack. The unknown trainer commanded his Beedrill to attack. But Beedrill's 2 needle-like arms stabbed alternately. Pikachu was directly beaten back. Pikachu. 100,000 volts. Xiaoxi commanded Pikachu to counterattack. Pikachu jumped high and hit Beedrill directly with 100,000 volts. Beedrill was electrocuted, and black marks appeared on his body and fell down. Beedrill. Stand up. The unknown trainer tried to encourage his Beedrill to continue fighting. However, Beedrill's eyes turned into mosquito coils and fell down completely. Beedrill loses its ability to fight. Pikachu wins. Xiaogang announced the result immediately. Win, Pikachu. Xiaoxi said happily. Pikachu also called back. After the battle, the 2 had a brief exchange and shook hands to show that it was a wonderful battle. Shake hands tightly after the game. It feels so young. Xiaoyao sighed as he continued to move towards Kansas City. Battles can enhance friendship, that is, Pokémon battles. Xiaogang said. That's right, Pokémon trainers are all friends. Xiaoxi also said. Battles are very interesting, and you will like it if you have the opportunity to experience it. Wutong also said. Although this is the case, Xiaoxi did a lot of reckless things when fighting. Xiaosheng looked at Xiaoxi and said. Ah. Xiaoxi made a puzzled sound. If I had used lightning flash just now, I wouldn't have been hit by the double needles. Xiaosheng continued. What did you say? He rushed over all of a sudden. Xiaoxi wanted to refute, but was interrupted by Xiaosheng halfway through. But there is no way. After all, Xiaoxi is still learning. Don't you think so, Wutong? Xiaosheng pushed his glasses and said. Huh. This time it was Wutong's turn to make a puzzled sound. He was just a spectator. Why did it come to him? Xiaosheng, although what you said makes sense. Pokémon battles are not multiple choice questions in exams. There is not only one answer to the question. Everyone's fighting style is different, and it is more important to adapt to circumstances than to follow the rules when fighting. Wutong said. That's right. Xiaoxi heard Wutong speak for him and quickly agreed. But Xiaoxi's fighting style is indeed very reckless. He is the kind of guy who just rushes without thinking. Wutong continued. What? Xiaoxi found that he was too happy too early. Pikachu suddenly shouted, as if he had discovered something. Several people looked in the direction Pikachu pointed, and a huge snake-shaped bear rushed out from the grass on the side of the road and ran towards a fork in the road. Amazing. There is such a big wild snake-shaped bear. Xiaosheng said in surprise. Why do you say that? Xiaoyao asked curiously. because the ordinary snake-shaped bear is only 43 centimeters tall and weighs 17.5 kilograms. Xiaoxia immediately explained to his sister. 43 centimeters? 17.5 kilograms? Xiaozhi was also surprised. That means it is a well-developed and quite large snake-shaped bear. Xiaogang exclaimed. Oh, is that so? Then let's follow it and see. Wutong, who knew the specific situation, said deliberately because he was very interested in the guy's technique of changing clothes quickly. Xiaozhi and his friends had no objection and chased after it together. Chasing the giant snake bear all the way, they came to a place with many snake bears. Those ones over there look quite small. Xiaozhi said as he took out the Pokémon encyclopedia. Snake bear, a raccoon Pokémon, has a strong curiosity and is interested in everything. So they move in a zigzag manner. At this time, the snake bears were attracted by Karis, who was hugging the tree trunk and sucking sap. So that's it. The snake bears are curious about Karis. Xiaozhi said as if he understood. Wutong ignored the ordinary snake bears, but kept looking at the giant snake bear, trying to find some special device. Very good. The giant snake bear sneaked up to a snake bear and instantly turned into a human. Ah. The snake bear turned into a human. Xiaoxiao said in surprise. Wutong was a little disappointed. It seemed that there was no special device. It was just a simple hand speed, and the doll costume seemed to be easier to wear. No, sister, that's a real person. Xiaoxia said to his sister, who seemed to have lost her mind. So, can the snake bear transform into a human? Xiaoxiao asked sincerely. So that's not the snake bear? Xiaoxia complained speechlessly. Wutong wanted to laugh a little. Xiaoxiao was really a little silly at the beginning. How about it, snake bear, are you willing to fight with me? Go, water leap. The trainer Shorts Boy Aki, who was transformed by the snake bear, asked with a Pokeball. Look, it's a real person. Xiaoxia and Xiaoxiao ran in front of Aki without knowing when, and Xiaoxia said to Xiaoxiao, wait a minute, I want to confirm it. Really, although the clothes are weird, but it is indeed a real person, Xiaoxiao said, holding Aki's head with both hands and looking around. Have they always been so silly? Wutong asked, trying to hold back his laughter. The snake bear looked at the three strange humans in front of him speechlessly and turned away. Hey, wait a minute. Snake bear, don't go. Seeing the snake bear leaving, Aki reached out to keep him, but the snake bear walked away without looking back. How can you two prevent others from catching Pokémon? You should apologize. Wutong also came over and said to the two. Too focused on watching the show, Wutong forgot to stop the two silly siblings. Yes, because of you two, this has become a failed catching. It's shorts. Shorts that show the knees. You are also shorts boys, so handsome. Aki was about to get angry and saw Xiaoxiao and Xiaoxiang's outfits and said hurriedly, what are you? Xiaozhi also came over and asked. Very good, if you want to know my name, I'll tell you. Aki said and instantly turned into a huge snake bear again. Xiaozhi and others were startled by Aki's sudden change of costume. Wutong was watching Aki's performance with great interest. Sometimes he is a snake-shaped bear running through the forest. Sometimes he is a poisonous jellyfish with many tentacles. Sometimes he is a beautiful flower with gorgeous dancing posture. But his essence is Aki, who is called the Shorts Boy. Aki said after a series of disguises. Oh. Wutong gave a warm applause to Aki's performance. Shorts Boy, Aki? Xiaozhi and his friends were still in a state of confusion. A natural trainer who shows his knees and wears natural clothes. Yes, he is your companion. If possible, tell me your name. Aki half knelt in front of Xiaoxiao and Xiaoxia, with his hands on each of their shoulders, as if he had found the organization. My name is Xiaoxiao. I'm Xiaoxia. Xiaoxiao and Xiaoxia subconsciously said their names. I'm Xiaozhi from Pallet Town. I'm Xiaogang. Please take care of me on our first meeting. My name is Wutong, and the disguise just now was great. Please teach me if you can. Wutong said. Well, no problem, Xiaoxiao and Xiaoxia. It's really a very suitable name for Shorts Boy. Aki was still immersed in the joy of finding the organization. Shorts Boy, let me make it clear first. I'm not wearing shorts. I'm wearing leggings. Xiaoxiao retorted. I'm not a boy either. Xiaoxia also said. I know, we are all shorts boys, we don't want to show off, Aki said as if he understood. Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia had black lines on their faces and were speechless. Okay, anyway, do you two have things to do? Wutong said. Sorry, I'm in the way of your conquest Pokémon. X2 After hearing what Wutong said, Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia bowed their heads and apologized. There is no other way, this is the power of Wutong who controls the diet. Chapter 474. After seeing Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia's apology, Aki said cheerfully that it was okay. Wutong felt that Aki was too cheerful. But why did you dress up as a snake bear? Xiaogang asked. It's obvious that you dress like this to become a Pokémon. Understand their thoughts, find the flaws in their actions, and finally conquer them. Aki replied. To conquer Pokémon? Xiaoxi said as if he had discovered a new world. That's a good idea. I feel that you will get along well with a guy named Zhenghu who I know. He also likes to dress up as a Pokémon to experience the thoughts of Pokémon. Wutong thought of Zhenghu and said, really? Then I really want to get to know him. Aki said happily. I plan to capture a serpentine bear in the orange forest first, and then challenge the orange gym. Aki looked around and continued to search for serpentine bear's traces. Orange gym. Are you going to fight with your father? Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia asked in succession. Dad? Aki seemed to have lost interest in serpentine bear all of a sudden and said to Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia. The father of these two is the gym leader of the orange gym. Xiaoxi said. Is that so? If possible, you can have a Pokémon battle with me. The children of the gym leader must have been taught by the gym leader, right? Aki invited happily. X2 Xiaoyao and Xiaoxia didn't expect that they would be invited to fight. I can roughly know what the gym leader's strength is by seeing your strength. Aki continued. As for Aki's theory, Wutong can only say that it makes sense, but not much. After all, he has not considered the situation where the gym leader gives his children free choice or free range. Real strength. Xiaoyao couldn't help but shrink back a little. After all, she wasn't being modest. She said without exaggeration that she had no strength at all. Okay, go ahead, sister. Xiaoxia looked at Xiaoyao and said. Wutong covered her face helplessly. Where did this kid get his confidence from? Xiaoyao looked at Xiaoxia in surprise. Let him see the strength of the gym owner's daughter. Xiaoxia continued. What? Xiaoyao was completely upset. Her expression was like Banboba, who was assigned by Hydra to eliminate Tang Monk and his disciples. Since it's decided, let's start the Pokémon battle right away. The location is in the open space in front. Let's go. Aki said without thinking too much, and turned around to lead the way. Wutong suddenly felt a little sorry for Xiaoyao. She met such a happy-go-lucky guy and a mysteriously confident brother. Wait a minute, you want me to compete? Xiaoyao wanted to struggle. What? Are you scared? Aki, who was stopped, turned around and said in confusion. Okay, in that case, I will accept your challenge. Xiaoyao said immediately, after being stimulated by Aki's words. Aki is not a bad person. To put it nicely, he is straightforward. To put it bluntly, he speaks without thinking. He says whatever he thinks of. However, he will apologize immediately when he knows he is wrong. So Wutong did not intend to intervene to stop them. It was definitely not, because eating melons was more interesting. It was definitely not. Hey, is it okay? Xiaozhi, who knew Xiaoyao's strength, asked worriedly. It's okay. This is also an experience. Xiaogang comforted. It won't be a problem. Although we have met for less than 2 days, I can see that Xiaoyao is very strong. There will be no problem in a battle. Wutong also comforted. At this time, Wutong suddenly thought of something. Duck-billed flame beast, help me. Wutong released the duck-billed flame beast and took out a packed food box and handed it to the duck-billed flame beast. Xiaotong, what are you doing? Xiaozhi asked curiously. Nothing, just a little thing. Wutong waved his hand to indicate that he didn't mind. Buban the platypus, who received Wutong's spiritual communication and instructions, turned around and left with the food box. After Platypus left, Wutong and his friends followed Aki to an open space. Platypus was looking for its target nearby with the food box. The platypus, known as the navigation god duck, quickly found its target. Bubon Platypus walked behind the trio who were secretly peeping with a telescope and gently tapped Musash's shoulder. The rocket trio turned around in confusion and then saw the Platyman. Bubon Platyman saw the trio turn around and handed the food box in his hand to the three. "Hey, did you say this is for us?" Meow. Meow Meow acted as a translator. "It's so heavy, it looks like there's a lot of food in it," Kajiro said in surprise after taking the food box. "Great, I have a meal for the next 2 days." Musashi also said happily. "Bubon, simple food, not respectful," Platyman called out. No, you're too polite. We should thank you." Meow 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 immediately returned the greeting. "Thank you very much X2." Musashi and Kajiro also thanked Bubon. "Then, have a good trip, everyone." Platyman raised its 2-barrel arms and called out, "A. X3." The rocket trio made an unbelievable sound. The flames exploded, and the rocket trio once again turned into a meteor in the sky. "What a complicated feeling." Meow. The rocket trio shouted with complicated expressions and disappeared into the air. Sonans in the open space, Xiaozhi and his friends raised their heads and looked up at the sky in confusion. "Why do I feel like I heard something?" Xiaozhi said. "It's an illusion. Take a good look at Xiaoxia's battle." Wutong patted Xiaozhi on the shoulder and said, "Bubon the platypus, which completed the task, came back. Thank you for your hard work, platypus." Wutong said and took the platypus back into the Pokeball. Xiaozhi was even more confused. What was going on? What did Wutong do without telling them? "Very good. Let's start," Aki shouted with full energy. Xiaoxia looked at Aki speechlessly. If possible, he hoped that Aki would become more handsome after transformation. "Then I will be the referee," Xiaogang said at the right time. "Go. Water leap." Aki sent out his Pokémon. Gurgle-o, it's a Squidward. Xiaoxi, who had seen the Squidward before, did not take out the Pokémon to scan it. Pokémon costume. Aki made a transformation motion. A large Squidward appeared. X4. Xiaoxi and his friends were surprised by Aki again. "Oh, great." Wutong still applauded. "Xiaoxia, where is your Pokémon?" Xiaogang reminded. Okay please, Chickadee." Xiaoxia quickly sent out his only Pokémon. Chickadee. What? The opponent is a water type Squidward, but they sent a fire type Chickadee, Aki said in surprise. Obviously, he had not realized that Xiaoxia was just a newcomer among newcomers. "It's bad. The opponent's Pokémon is actually a water type," Xiaosheng said a little worriedly. "It's okay. As long as you are skilled in command, you can make up for the disadvantage. That's a Pokémon battle," Xiaoxi said confidently. Open bracket underscore closed bracket exclamation mark question mark? Wutong looked at Xiaoxi speechlessly. How did he have the courage to say such a thing? Didn't he know Xiaoxia's strength? Not to mention, being skilled in command, he couldn't even give normal commands. There was no suspense in the battle. Xiaoxia, who had no command experience, had no idea what to do. Even using skills required Xiaoxi's reminder. After being hit by a water gun from the water jump fish, the turkey lost its combat ability. The Jamona's strength is only this little bit. It seems that the badge of the orange gym can be easily obtained. After the battle, Aki walked up to a few people and said confidently, "What did you say?" Xiaosheng was directly angry when his father was looked down upon. Wutong was really a bit difficult to comment. After all, if you have to say it, Aki just spoke too directly. The main reason why Qianli was looked down upon was because of Xiaosheng and Xiaoxia themselves. Even Xiaoxia seemed a bit innocent. After all, she was just forced into a losing Pokémon battle. As for Xiaosheng, it was purely childish behavior. He was a naughty kid, but not really. He was just a kid who simply believed that his father was omnipotent and the strongest in the world. Most people would have this idea when they were young. So the only one who was hurt in the whole incident was the fire chick, who had to fight a losing battle. Then, let's go and capture the snake bear first, and take the orange gym badge slowly. Okay, guys in shorts, goodbye, Aki said, and then he transformed into a giant snake bear and ran away. Xiaoxia looked at Aki who was leaving, his eyes full of dissatisfaction. Wutong looked at Xiaoxia, thinking about something in his heart. Xiaoxi and the other two did not see Xiaoxia's abnormality and continued their journey. My first A battle was lost just like that, and lost to that kind of person. Walking on the road, Xiaoxiao said unwillingly. After all, her father was underestimated, and Xiaoxiao was also very angry. There is no way. Xiaoxiao is still a beginner and doesn't know enough about Pokémon. Xiaogang comforted. So just train hard and become stronger. Xiaoxi also said. What shorts? Who is the kid? Is there a problem with your brain? That guy will definitely lose to his father. Right, Xiaoxia. Xiaoxiao still said indignantly. However, the imagined response did not appear. What's wrong, Xiaoxiao? Xiaoxi and Xiaogang also stopped and asked. When they found Xiaoxiao stopped. Xiaoxia is missing. Wutong is also missing. Xiaoxiao said. What? Xiaoxia and Xiaotong disappeared together. Xiaogang said excitedly. Yes. Xiaoxiao was startled. It's over. There's a big problem. Xiaoxi also said in a panic. Pikachu wanted to start looking directly. What's wrong with you? Xiaoxiao was frightened by Xiaoxi's behavior, and for a moment she forgot her anxiety. Do you know what Xiaotong's nickname is? Xiaogang pressed Xiaoxiao's shoulder and asked seriously. Food, god of food. Xiaoxiao said tentatively. No, it's the champion level lost person. Xiaoxi said seriously. Pikachu also nodded and agreed. If Xiaoxiang got lost by himself, we can find him quickly, but if he got lost with Xiaotong, Xiaoxi stopped halfway. If he got lost with Wutong, they are likely to have gone to other areas now. Xiaogang said. Wutong. What should we do? Let's go find them. Xiaoxiao also became scared and said anxiously. Mao at this time, a blue Pokémon stopped the panicked three people. It's Xiaotong's Ditto. Xiaoxi said. Mao Ditto twisted its body and turned into an arrow. Are you saying that Xiaotong and the others are in that direction? Xiaogang asked. Mao the arrow that Ditto turned into shook to show that it was correct. Let's go. Xiaoxiao immediately picked up Ditto and ran in the direction pointed by Ditto. Xiaoxi and Xiaogang also hurriedly followed. On the other side, Xiaoxiang followed Aki all the way. People who regard dad as a fool are absolutely unforgivable. Xiaoxiang said to himself. So, how do you plan to retaliate? A voice appeared and asked. Of course I messed with him. How could such a guy be allowed to tame the snake pattern bear? Xiaoxiang answered subconsciously. Oh, but what you did is not what a good child should do. The voice said again. I don't care about good or bad children. Who made that guy look down on his father? Xiaoxiang said willfully, and then found something wrong. Turning around, Xiaoxiang saw Wutong, who was holding his arms in front of him and looking at him with a smile. Although Wutong was smiling, Xiaoxiang stood at attention with a guilty conscience and then lowered his head slightly. Wutong, who won the championship of 2 conferences, is a person that Xiaoxiang admires and respects. In addition, after these 2 days of getting along, Wutong seems to have an extra brother for Xiaoxiang. Standing in front of Wutong at this time, Xiaoxiang was like a child who was caught doing something bad, and he didn't know what to do. I know you are very angry that your father is looked down upon, but this is not a reason for you to destroy other people's efforts. Wutong saw Xiaoxiang's state and squatted down to say to Xiaoxiang. But, Xiaoxiang wanted to defend himself, but didn't know how to say it. Of course, I'm not saying that we can only swallow our anger and do nothing at this time. Wutong continued. Then what should I do? Xiaoxiang raised his head and looked at Wutong and asked. Of course, it's solved in the way of a trainer. Wutong said. But, I don't have my own Pokémon. Xiaoxiang said disappointedly. So, this time I'm here to help you get revenge, but you have to promise me that you won't want to do this kind of thing in the future, and you have to apologize to your sister afterwards. Xiaoxiao's first battle was under such a forced situation, and she lost miserably without any preparation. Do you think it's fair to her? Wutong said. I know, Wutong, what are you going to do? Xiaoxiang said reflectively. Didn't I say it? use the way of a trainer, but he is just a bit willful trainer, and he looks down on the gym leader, so that I can also. I'm a little upset. It's okay to vent a little bit. Wutong replied with a smile. Yeah. Looking at Wutong, Xiaoxia also smiled and nodded. Chapter 475. The more you look at the tree, the more you will see. Aki, who disguised himself as a snake bear, kept collecting the fruits that the snake bear liked to eat, and then used these fruits to attract the snake bear. However, a black shadow flashed by him, and the fruits that Aki had collected were also snatched away by the black shadow. Who is it? Aki asked in shock. Gag. Since you ask sincerely. The green onion soldier with black feathers responded to Aki's question. Don't learn those weird things. Sorry, it's a bit immoral, but come and fight Pokémon with me. As a trainer, you shouldn't refuse. I will return these berries to you after the battle. Wutong knocked on the head of the green onion soldier and interrupted the spell. It's you. No problem. Come on. Pokémon battle. Aki said after seeing Wutong. Xiaoxia, the referee's task is up to you. Wutong said to Xiaoxia on the side. I know, leave it to me. Xiaoxia replied. Xiaoxia. Wutong. X3 at this time, Xiaozhi and the other two also came over under the guidance of Ditto. Well, you're just in time, Ditto, it's you. Wutong said with an idea in his mind after seeing Ditto. Mao hearing the call of his trainer, Ditto jumped out of Xiaoxia's arms and landed in front of Wutong. What's going on? Why did Wutong suddenly start fighting with Aki? And why did you two disappear together, Xiaoxia? Xiaoxia asked Xiaoxia in confusion. I'm sorry, sister, but brother Wutong is here to help me. Xiaoxia changed his way of addressing Wutong unconsciously. Although I don't know what happened, the battle has already begun, so let's just watch. Xiaogang said steadily. Is Xiaotan going to fight? He will definitely not lose. Xiaoxi said to Wutong with confidence. Go, Aqua, put on your Pokémon costume, dress up. After Aki sent out Aqua, he changed and put on Aqua's doll costume again. Ditto, Chickadee mode. Wutong said calmly as he looked at the two Aquas opposite, one big and one small. Mao Ditto called out and turned into a Chickadee with a color scheme opposite to that of the normal Chickadee. As a Ditto with a collecting habit, how could he not take the opportunity to collect some items during the 2 days he spent with Chickadee? Although Xiaoxia's fire chick is still very weak, it is still easy to get some chicken feathers that are enough for Ditto to transform. It turned into fire chick. X3 Xiaoxi and the other two, as well as Aki, all made puzzled sounds. Brother Wutong. Xiaoxia understood Wutong's thoughts. Although I don't know what you are going to do, I won't lose. Water Leap Fish used the water gun. Aki attacked first. Ditto, run. Wutong was not polite. His eyes flashed blue light and his superpower was activated directly. Although I feel a little sorry for Aki. So what? Wutong is not a righteous and fair person. It is not normal to be partial to his acquaintances. Protecting one's shortcomings is also a good character. Gurgle. Water Leap Fish shot out a stream of water from its mouth. However, Ditto in Fire Chick mode ran first, and the irregular running made Water Leap Fish not know how to aim. Water Leap Fish, calm down. Use the water gun to shoot. Aki commanded. Gurgle. Water Leap obediently began to sweep the water gun back and forth. Ditto. Sand sweeping. Counterattack the protective shield. Wutong can be said to be commanding without holding back. Chirp. Ditto in the Fire Chicken mode did a backflip and stirred up a cloud of dust. The skill of counterattack the protective shield has long been integrated into Ditto's body and mind, and it is still easy to use even when using a new transformation form. The raised sand and dust began to rotate around Ditto under Ditto's control, and Water Leap's water gun attack was unable to break through Ditto's sand sweeping for a while. The next second, Ditto took the initiative to let the sand sweeping explode, and the battlefield was instantly covered with sand and dust, blocking the sight of both sides. It's useless. Water Leap can sense the flow of air through the fins on its head, and this can't stop Water Leap. Aki said confidently. It must be said that, although Aki looks like a sunny and cheerful big boy, he is still very good at understanding Pokémon. Of course I know that, but it also means that the fins on top of the water jumper's head are very sensitive. Peck. Wutong answered, and erected at the same time. chirp. Before the water jump fish could sense the position of Ditto through the fin on its head, Ditto had already appeared on its own initiative, and its beak was shining, and pecked directly on the fin of the water jump fish. Gurgle, the sensitive fin was attacked, and the water jump fish couldn't help but scream in pain. When Aki said in surprise, "It's not over yet." Ditto, Spark, Wutong used the same trick again. Chirp, a small flame burst out and burned directly on the fin on the top of the water jump fish's head. The burning and pain made the water jump fish unable to rely on the fin on its head to sense the actions of Ditto for a period of time. This made the water jump fish a little uncomfortable, just like a person who originally had a 360-degree all-round vision without dead angles, suddenly had a large blind spot in vision, and would definitely not be used to it. Water jump fish, cheer up. Use a water gun. Aki commanded quickly. Ditto, last attack, grab. Gurgle, water leap fish tried to fight back with a water gun, but Ditto once again came first after the latter, and the chicken claws were raised from the bottom to the top, directly across the face of water leap fish. Not only did it stop water leap fish's attack, but it also took away the remaining physical strength of water leap fish. Gurgle, water leap fish's water gun failed to fire, and its eyes turned into circles and lost consciousness. Water leap fish has lost its ability to fight. Ditto wins. The referee Xiaoxia immediately announced. Mao Ditto turned back to his original appearance and stretched his body casually. It was such a boring battle. It was obvious that the battle could be solved immediately by turning into the usual mode. I don't know why his trainer turned into a fire chicken himself. Could it be that the trainer felt that his usual training was too lazy? Ditto suddenly worried about his future life. But, so handsome. Seeing Wutong commanding Fire Chicken to win, Xiaoxia couldn't help but say, "I lost. Wutong, your Ditto is so strong, although I don't know how you command it." Aki put away the water leap fish and said, with Aki's eyesight, he could see that Wutong was commanding, but he didn't understand how Wutong could command Ditto without saying anything, or making any extra movements. However, this also proves that Aki has not seen the Quartz Conference and the Silver Conference, otherwise he would definitely be on guard against Wutong's fighting style. Thank you for the compliment. I should say sorry. In order to let you fight with me, I deliberately snatched your fruit, Onion Soldier. Wutong said and signaled Onion Soldier to return the fruit. It doesn't matter. This also made me appreciate an excellent battle, didn't it? There are indeed many powerful trainers. I really want to get the badge of the Orange Gym as soon as possible and then fight with more trainers. Aki said nonchalantly. Really? Let me make it clear first. Although you think I'm very strong and I've won the championship twice, I'm just an acting gym leader. Wutong raised his eyebrows and said, "What? You're the acting gym leader?" Aki was shocked again. "Yes, so you think I'm very strong as the acting gym leader? Do you still think the official gym leader will be weak? And the strength of Mr. Qianli, the gym leader of Chenghe Gym, is among the best among all gym leaders." Wutong said seriously. "It's just a substitution of concepts. Wutong is not incompetent. Is this so? Is the gym leader of Chenghe Gym that strong? Then you really need to prepare more." Aki believed what Wutong said and said while thinking. Seeing the change in Aki's attitude, Xiaoxia's expression became brighter, and Xiaoxia seemed to understand what happened. "Brother Wutong, you are so awesome." Xiaoxia ran to Wutong and said excitedly, "Hey, why do you add brother to Wutong when you call him Xiaoxia? What about me?" Xiaoxi said with a bit of jealousy. "That's because Wutong looks like a brother, but Xiaoxi, you don't look like a brother at all." Xiaoxia said as a matter of course. "What?" Xiaoxi said. Pikachu shouted, as if he agreed with Xiaoxia's statement. "What about me? I have many brothers and sisters." Xiaogang interrupted and joked. "Xiaogang is more like a mother than a brother. Do you want me to call you Xiaogang mother?" Xiaoxiang replied sharply. Mother?" Xiaogang repeated it, as if he was a little shocked. "Pooh, not bad Xiaogang mother, it suits you very well. By the way, Xiaoxiang, have you done what you should do?" Wutong said with a smile. I know. Sister, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have forced you to fight Pokémon because of my impulsiveness. I'm really sorry that your first Pokémon battle left a bad memory, and also for Chickadee. Xiaoxia came to Xiaoyao and apologized sincerely. It's okay, and that's what I agreed to, right? But, as expected, I also want to become stronger. At least my father won't be looked down upon because of me, Xiaoyao said. Then you need to work hard with Chickadee. But have you determined your goal now? Wutong asked. He didn't accidentally change the plot drastically, did he? Coordination trainer Xiaoyao disappeared. Offensive trainer Xiaoyao made a grand appearance. Not yet, but I also want to work hard to do something. So Wutong, can you teach me Pokémon battles? Xiaoyao begged. Hey, I can teach you too. Xiaoxi interrupted again. So, Xiaoxi, you are still in the learning stage. Brother Wutong is more reliable. Xiaoxia said. What? Damn it, Xiaotong. Come to a Pokémon battle with me. Xiaoxi invited Wutong to a battle. Hehe, you want to fight me? Then you need to challenge my subordinates first, and then talk about it. After you have defeated the 4 kings I accepted, the playboy Xiaomao, the gloomy monster Shinji and the beast master Xiaoming. Wutong made a middle school gesture and deliberately suppressed his voice. HU. X3 at the same time, Shinji, Xiaomao, and Xiaoming in different places sneezed at the same time. Is that guy Wutong talking about me behind my back again? X3 it must be said that the 3 people who are very familiar with Wutong's personality directly guess the truth. What 4 kings? You only have 3. Xiaoxi complained. And except for Xiaoming's nickname of Beast Master, Xiaomao and Shinji's nicknames are completely derogatory, right? Xiaogang also complained. Don't worry about those details. Anyway, Xiaoxi, you know that you have to pass the level first. Wutong waved his hand and said. Damn it, Xiaoxi said angrily. In that case, come and fight with me, Xiaoxi. You are all defeated by Wutong, so your strength should not be too weak, right? Arki invited Xiaoxi to fight. Although I don't know how Arki determined that Xiaoxi was defeated by Wutong. Who is the defeated by Wutong? But I accept your challenge. Xiaoxi, who never refuses Pokémon battles, still accepted Arki's invitation to fight. In that case, let me be the referee. Xiaogang decisively found his position and said. Xiaoyao found that Wutong did not answer him, so he moved over decisively and tried to get Wutong's consent by acting cute. Please Wutong, teach me how to fight Pokémon. Okay, teacher Wutong. Brother Wutong, teach me too. I want to be a Pokémon trainer better than my father and then inherit the Chenghe gym. Xiaosheng also moved over and said. Looking at the 2 siblings who were very close to him, Wutong scratched his head. Okay, but don't have too much hope. After all, I haven't been a teacher, and I don't know what I can teach. Also, Xiaoyao, don't call me teacher, it sounds weird. Wutong said. I know, Xiaotong. Xiaoyao said happily. That's great, brother Wutong. Xiaosheng also said very happily. Before that, let's take a look at the battle between Xiaoxi and Aki. Although I always tease Xiaoxi, he also has great potential and is one of my strong opponents in the conference. Wutong said. At this time, the battle between Aki and Xiaoxi has begun, but it seems that Aki does not have a second Pokémon, and it is still aquascaping. Xiaoxi sent Pikachu. For this situation, Wutong can only pray for aquascaping silently in his heart. Poor child, he was beaten one after another today. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.